Negroes, do your duty.
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
Your ass is next.
You can kill all the black folks you want, baby, but you will not kill the freedom of black folks. It's coming. We're going to get it. We fought every one of your damn lousy wars, baby, and you give us nothing. Now, the war is going to be here, but we're going to be free. Now, you kill you want to, but we kill too.
Negroes, do your duty.
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Good evening. Good evening. Oh, I didn't skip the track. My fault. Supposed to skip that track because I want to get a bed going here before I bring up my guest. They're just getting everything situated on their side. I appreciate anybody that's checked in early to the Villager on Deck. We are here. I don't like doing these streams, but I have to do these streams. I don't like these subjects, but I have to talk about these subjects. And, you know, where I would like to talk about my weekend in Cincinnati and what good of a time we had and things like that, this is actually more important. This is more important than me talking about my exploits in Ohio. So as soon as I have my guest ready to go, they're doing some things right now, getting everything aligned so they can talk. We've had a situation here in the county over the last 2 months. Many people have lost their lives. Many people have been assaulted. Many people have been accosted. Many people have been abused and brutalized. And at the root of that has come a lot of engagement with the police. In particular, awesome, got you, I see you. I'm a person that I'm going to look at the issue. Y'all know me, y'all know what I'm about. I'm definitely going to look at the issues. But when I look at the issues, I also have to look at the root. And the root of a lot of these situations has been with lethargic law enforcement. We're not getting things done through our law enforcement around the county. And we have issues, as we know, with the sheriff's department. And we're going to talk about the sheriff's department and their involvement in a lot of things that have happened around the county. We have issues in Ypsi. Even though they have a new chief, we have issues. We know we have issues in Ypsi. We have issues in Ann Arbor. We have issues in Saline. We have issues in Pittsfield Township. And we're going to talk about all those things. But right now, we're dealing with one situation, one specific situation, and it has to do with a attempted kidnapping. And this is just not something, not where I really need to be in life, but I'm here. So I'm going to bring up a couple people here. Let me just make sure that we're good. Yep. I think we're there. Yep. So I'm not going to mute your mic anymore. So if you need to mute just for your own silence, but I'm going to bring up Nikki and Cammie. If I believe I have both, correct? I believe I have both tonight. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring up Nikki and Cammie. And I have to be as informal as that because that's really what I have. So I'm going to be as informal as that is because I need to talk to these young ladies about what happened to them over the weekend, in dealing with WCSO, in dealing with an attempted abduction of their child, and where we are right now. So the big thing for me is just to make sure that we have all the facts. And the only way I was going to really have all the facts was to have all the people. So I have the mother, which I believe is Cammie. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Hi, Cammie. And then
Hi,
we have
how are you?
Nikki, who is the friend, more like sister, family, who was, I believe the baby was in the care of her family at the time. Okay. So just so we don't belabor the time, let's start at the beginning. And you have a child that you were in a relationship with someone else, Cammie, and that was how many years ago?
Correct. I want to first excuse my voice. I lost my voice because of the situation.
Understood.
I was arguing with the cops, so excuse my voice. So yes, the person that tried to take my daughter, I had a relationship with 7 years ago.
Okay.
It ended 7 years ago. So let's clarify that. It ended 7 years ago. Mind you, my daughter is also 7. So it ended 4 months into my daughter being born. So my daughter knows this woman at all.
Okay. So there's been no relationship since your daughter was 4 months old.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So, intermittently, has your daughter seen this individual? I mean, and I guess 0 to 2, 0 to 3, there'd probably be no recollection, maybe even 4.
Right.
5.
Okay. So, this is Ypsi. So it's a small town.
Absolutely.
And she has been relentless. So if I even see her in a store or we see, somewhere,
Sure.
She will try to interact,
Okay.
and throughout the years, just besides trying to interact with her on those occasions, she's tried to show up at my house. She's tried to multiple times. She showed up at Nicole's house. I went to Safe House to try to get away from this person a few years back, and she is absolutely relentless in letting it go, and so it's she's knows of her face,
sure,
but she does not know her. She doesn't even know her name, because in this situation, and when we get into detail,
sure.
She says she doesn't even know her name.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, Nikki, what'd you say there?
She said she is my uncle.
Oh,
okay. And see, so, and I want to get that clear in just a moment here. I just want to get that clear. So there's been no ongoing relationship. There's really no reason for the child to know who this individual is. Now, from what I know, while you were in the relationship, you made the decision at the time to give the baby your ex's last name.
Right. Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. So was this done by any other situation? I mean, is her name on the birth certificate?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So,
and has never been any custodial rights or anything granted or anything?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So we were in a relationship for 8 years.
Got it.
And we decided to have a sperm donor to have a baby. And when I had it, she was there when I gave birth, to be honest with that. And like I said, I left her 4 months after Dakota was born.
Got it.
So, she's an infant.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't, you just know of her. Like, she's 7 now, so she has a character, she has a personality. Right. And
you guys are freezing there.
Uh-oh.
You good? Okay, you're fine. You're back.
I see you now.
Yeah. Are you still moving, or are you in a stationary spot?
So it's like, uh-oh.
You may be in a space where you're not catching a signal. And if you can still hear me,
we're trying to
disengage your Wi-Fi. Disengage your. I can see you now.
I just did.
Okay, yeah, disengage the Wi-Fi because. Okay, we should be good now if you just work with the LTE. So with that being said, and we don't have to continue to go over it, but I have to lay the groundwork because the sincerity of this goes way past, obviously, than what we've just talked about, because there's been no established relationship, but you've also had documentation where you've called, and I assume it would be the county. Have you lived in that same area where you've had to deal with Washtenaw County more than once about this individual? Yes. Okay. Absolutely. What do they say? What do they say when you have told them about things, or have there been actual cases filed where they've given you case numbers, and how's that relationship been with WCSO?
So Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department has been completely just disappointing all the way around the board. This has gone on at least once a year with her, with Washtenaw County. I call them, and it's not just me. It's, it's her mother, and whomever she comes in contact with. She has there's so much, and I asked the officer that was there the other day, I was like, I know that you're talking about a PPO, I get it, but there has to be, if every call is recorded, there has to be like a record of as many times that I've called you guys, and you guys have come out, and I went to Safe House for domestic violence, reasons, and there has to be a record of this. Absolutely. And the last record they have on their end that they somewhat took seriously was they made it as a stalking case. Okay. So, and I made that a point. I'm like, he said, well, why didn't you get a PPO? I'm like, because the last time you came out, you said you was going to make it a stalking case. So that if we was to ever get called again, in regards to her, then, she'll be arrested on site. This is what the last officer told me, a year ago. Okay. And now it's like, oh, you got to get a PPO in order for her to be arrested. And there's no evidence to show. I'm like, what more do you need in order for for me to tell you? There's 5, 6 people showing up that's telling you this person is not supposed to be around her. Right. Whether there's a PPO or not, if I am telling you and that I don't want this person to be around her
Or take her.
Because at the end of the day, my bottom line is, if she was left in her care and you decided without anybody's approval to take her, when she or her brother tried to get her back while I was at work, why would you not just hand her over to? She refused to hand her over to whom I had her in the care of.
Sure.
So if you're and it's not only that you're refusing, but you're manhandling my child. You're snatching her up, grabbing her, and talking, and to the point where she's telling them and her boyfriend that she's scared.
Wow.
And it's like, what more do you need if a child is clearly terrified at this point because you're refusing to give her to the people that she knows, because you coerced her to come with you with some candy like a creep.
She
Whoa. So we kind of jumped forward. We went right into what the incident is.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm a little emotional about this, so I apologize.
I totally get it. But what I don't want to, I want to stay with the history. She doesn't have a history with the young girl. And the baby's name is Dakota. Can we use her name, Dakota?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the baby's name is Dakota. So she doesn't have a relationship with Dakota, has never had a relationship with Dakota. And you've had multiple instances dealing with anything from domestic violence, stalking, this, that, and the other that you dealt with the police. And just as someone said in the chat, Frida said PPOs are not a good source of protection. And this is why I guess I have an issue with what's happened here, because they're telling you to go to this measure when I do know, and we'll get to it in just a second, when she finally made the brazen tactic of taking the baby this past weekend. I want to ask, is that the first time that she had attempted this, or has this happened before?
This has happened before.
Okay.
In my care.
Okay. So what happened this past weekend was not even the first time. Did you document the last time that she took the baby without your consent?
The last time she didn't actually get a chance to take the baby.
Okay.
This is when she was in safe house. I was watching Dakota for a little while.
Okay.
And needless to say, she's seen Dakota outside playing with my child. She tried to approach. Instantly, I called the police.
Okay.
She tried to call the police back, saying that I wouldn't give her her daughter. And I had to explain to the officer, as well as call the mother at work. So she had to stop once again at work.
Right.
Because she's trying to take this child out of my care.
Right.
Needless to say, we explained to the cop, like, she's in safe house because of this young lady. And the cop made her leave my property.
Okay.
But
So
they didn't trespass her.
Didn't trespass her, no citations, no, detainment, no nothing. So really during this whole time, she's pretty much been just acting out without any type of repercussions. Has she ever gotten any type of charge?
Never.
Never been detained, never been arrested. Okay, so let's just move all the way up to the 22nd, because we're going to cook on some other things, but I want to move to the 22nd. Please paint the picture, because the baby was in the care of your brother and other kids, and you weren't around, and Cammie wasn't around. It sounds like she's making a pattern to always try to take the child when Cammie's not around, but that's just my early observation. We'll talk about that.
She always does it when Cammie's not around. That is correct.
Okay. Let's go to that date. Let's go to the 22nd, and you guys are gone, and from the
brother calls me.
Okay.
My brother calls me and says some girl that claims to be her uncle just walked off with her. He didn't get to fully tell me everything because he was in panic mode. So I flipped out. I told my brother, I said, you chase her down and do not let her go anywhere.
Right.
I get there. I was 5 minutes away from the house. So I'm speeding at this point to go find them. I pull up. Me and my daughter are running around the neighborhood. My boyfriend goes one way. I run through the neighborhood and my brother goes back through the field. He's on her tail. He's yelling at her, telling her to give him the baby back. She doesn't have permission. Mind you, come to find out, she walked over and waited till my brother went into the house and picked her up and walked off with her real fast through the woods.
So this was no play. This was no, I'm going to mess with y'all heads a little bit, walk her down the street, and then maybe end up over it. She literally was trying to get away from your kid, or get away from the house and get her out of there.
When she made it through the woods, she had a ride on the other side at the park to try to pick her up. They got blocked in by my boyfriend. He blocked them in. And when they seen the police ride past, the girl skirted out of the parking lot. And then
her getaway driver left her?
Yes, her getaway driver left her.
Okay. All right. We still need her too, though, because she was a part of the plan. And obviously what happened later, not jumping the shark, but y'all stopped her. Your boyfriend's behind her. You stopped her. She's got the baby. Have police been called at this point?
Police have been called. I'm on the phone and I'm yelling and screaming at them to hurry up because she's trying to get away. Okay. And the dispatcher told me I was being too aggressive because I told her, I said, if somebody don't help me get my niece, I'm going to jail. And I meant that with every word in my body, every soul, every being, everything I got in me. I meant it.
You were told you were being too aggressive when a 7-year-old had just been abducted from your house in broad daylight.
In broad daylight, she told me I was being too aggressive, and that call is recorded because they're supposed to record everything.
We want the 911 operator, the dispatcher's name too, because
I didn't even get her name.
Don't worry about it. The call is documented. They'll be able to tell you exactly who that operator is. If not, you can FOIA it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But okay, so you call the police, and then now, how do they come in? I mean, they come in 3-4 cars deep. Are they trying to do a perimeter?
They came in one car at first. And mind you, they had completely passed them because they was looking for me.
Okay.
Instead of them. So they passed them. This is when the getaway driver took off. They ended up turning around and they seen me because at this point, I done seen Dakota and the girl. I yelled at Dakota. I said, come here, baby, come to TT. She tried to come to me and the girl grabbed her. I said, you got 1 second to get your hands off her. I'm going to jail. By this time, the police are pulling up on the thing. So instead of me going after her, which was my initial reaction, I ran to the cop. And at this point, it's Officer Willems. He knows me personally.
Okay.
I've lived in this neighborhood. I've dealt with him multiple times, and he knows that my kids are not something I'm going for.
Okay.
And this little girl is like my child. She's my niece. I've been around her since she's 4 months old. So Willems, he didn't even ask no questions. He walked over to her. He got Dakota from her, and he brought her to me.
Okay.
I just gave her to my boyfriend. We went and put her and my dog in the car. Mind you, I have a pit bull. He's 4 months old, 5 months old, and he's not aggressive at all. There's not an aggressive bone in his body. He didn't bark. He wasn't aggressive, no nothing. So we put him in the car. Mind you, it's 80, 90 degrees. So I let him out for a second, trying to no, we don't have legal counsel. I'm sorry. I was trying to get him to cool down a little bit. And so I let him out. By this time, another white officer and a black officer showed up.
Okay.
They made me and my sister walk away. They made everybody basically leave and just to talk to Cammie. I hear him yelling at Cammie, basically saying there's nothing that they can do. It's our fault that she got abducted. We're the bad guys. She needs better babysitters. That she needed a PPO because it's not a case against the child. No, nothing, and that there's nothing that they can do. But mind you, this baby was taken from my yard, picked up and carried away well over 100 feet.
Right.
And you guys tried to put her in a vehicle. And you have 6-7 people yelling at you, telling you that she did not have permission. So my daughter.
I have a question. Yes. They go into your care. They go into, you should do better. You should get the PPO. They go into all of this stuff. I guess I'm understanding all of that, but when they pulled up on the scene, she still had Dakota in her arms.
She had Dakota and would not hand her to me. Dakota was trying to leave and she was grabbing her. And they did nothing about it.
And I don't agree with that.
So, okay. And I'm sorry to cut you off there, Cammie. How far away is this? How far away from your house are you now?
You know the neighborhood.
If I wouldn't have known my neighborhood and known exactly where to look, she would have got away. It would have been she would have had about a good 7-minute head start had my daughter not watched her. My 7-year-old, who's Dakota's best friend, ran into the house and got my brother.
So she abducted her. You're chasing. Your boyfriend's driving. You pin her in. She has the baby. You're screaming, and this is just a term, but you're screaming bloody murder because she's got the baby without your permission.
They're not trying to give her back. She was not trying to give her back. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm causing a scene.
And the police
intentionally caused a scene. They did not pursue her. And then, hold on. Mind you, so Officer Woolham stayed behind.
Okay.
They trespassed her. The young lady was at my house sitting across the street yesterday on 723, harassing me. I called the police and they let her go again.
Okay.
As well as in the process of them blaming us and everything else, the black officer kept grabbing his gun, telling me to put my dog in the hot car. Yes, he was grabbing his gun, telling me that I need to put my dog in the car, basically trying to act like he was going to shoot my dog, who wasn't aggressive nor running up to him.
The black officer is now. I've done a little bit of recon work here. The black officer, I believe, was Shane Bynum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's this individual here. I know I was sharing a screen. I want to go right here. This is the individual that you encountered yesterday. This is the black officer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He has a beard now.
He has a beard now, and he was wearing glasses, but that is the same man.
Okay, so that's good. So this is taken from like 2015, 2016. Once I got his name, I just looked for the first still shot. I really wasn't caring about a glamour shot or how his current look is. This is what he looked like 6 years ago. So he shouldn't be upset that I'm putting up a picture where he was 6-7 years younger, and it is what it is.
Also, we tried to ask him. So we tried to say, what if it was your child? He said, oh no, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna talk about that.
Well, you're just asking him is, how would you feel?
Yeah, how would you feel if this was your child and you're telling us that this is what you're gonna do?
Because he said,
but we're not gonna talk about that. He kept saying it's a gray area. This is a gray area. There's no gray area. She has no rights to be around this child. There's no connection. There's no relation. There's no court documents. No nothing for you to keep grabbing her. I did not release her to her. My brother told you that. Like, he straight up told officer, I did not give her permission. Dakota, out of her own mouth, said my brother was in the house and she picked her up.
Okay, so she's got her. She's holding on to her, and they're not pursuing her. And I've got the video that was filmed that day. And I tried to get close to the part where I remember the officers seemed like they were a little aggressive with you speaking, and hopefully some of this is audible. Give me 1 quick second. Let's see if we can get this in here. I see you. Is that you, Cammy, in the burgundy shirt?
Here say she ain't supposed to be around. It don't matter if it's paperwork or not, nigga.
So right there, I just heard Alan say about paperwork. They're talking to you about custody papers.
Yes. They're talking to me about a PPO.
A PPO. So she doesn't have, so you don't have a PPO. So they're not willing to do anything about a child being abducted and taken probably about a quarter of a mile away from her home because you don't have PPO papers. What's their reasoning for not acting out on a child being unlawfully snatched from her yard? And
they said it's a gray area.
But there is on record that she has been stalking me over the years. But because of there's no PPO, but there's on record that she's been stalking me and that she also had a firearm on her. But at the last year that I did the stalking case. So, that's on record. This person is not supposed to be like, she shouldn't be around me. She's been stalking me. I've been wanting her to get away from me. Oh, but that has to do with you, not Dakota. Dakota's my child. She's with me 100% of the time.
If there's no you, there's no Dakota.
Exactly.
I mean, okay, I get it. So I guess I'm trying to get to the point where at some point they had to ask her, ma'am, did you take this baby out of the yard without this mother or her aunt, friend, however you address them as?
They would never get that close. No, they had her completely separated. We don't know what they asked her. All they kept trying to tell me is like, okay, so why does she have her last name? I was like, okay, I gave them the story, but at the end of the day, that's not relevant to what I'm telling you right now. And I told them the story. Why she has her last name. Okay, we were together when I was pregnant with her, when she was born, but I haven't been with her since she was 4 months old. Mm-hmm. But I haven't been with her because I was in an abusive relationship. It became toxic. I had to get out of there, you know, and this is what it's been. It hasn't been a back and forth. It hasn't been, I left her, went back, I left her. It's been a consistent 7 years that I've been trying to get away from this person. And it's just exhausting at this point that she knows, because she's a narcissist for one.
She was laughing.
She's not stupid. So she knows at this point that, especially by the time she realized she wasn't going to jail, she's literally laughing and smiling behind his face, trying to talk to Dakota over us.
And then I spazzed out.
You know, and then everybody else is going crazy because it's like, this is not a joke. This is not a game.
So
you know,
let me ask you this, okay? Because we've gotten to a certain point where you're saying that they've obviously talked to her to know that Dakota has her last name, and Dakota does indeed have her last name, and that was based on the relationship status that you had 8 years ago. How do they know that? How do they know that Dakota's last name?
She told her, and then when they asked me what her full name was, I told them. Okay. You know, and to me that wasn't relevant. That doesn't matter, because realistically, if my mother gave birth to me and I have my mother's last name, however, if at the time my grandmother is the legal guardian of me at the time, my mother is not supposed to be around me. If my mother took me without my grandmother's permission, then there would be a problem.
Absolutely.
But when I looked at this situation, it was even worse, because you first approached her, oh, I'm your uncle. But then now when the law enforcement is involved, now you're her other parent. Then you coerced her with candy and noodles.
Maddie took the candy and noodles from me.
I know, she told me. And then when she went, I'm like, if this was a grown man doing this to a young lady and took this young lady and did everything that she did,
if this was a white child. If this was a white child, and this is coming out of my mouth, if this was a white child, they would have took anybody to jail right then and there with no questions asked.
Period.
And I'll say that.
The thing is, the value on Black life generally is ridiculous. The value on a Black child's life is even less, because what happens is they're picking apart her name. What if the name was Johnson? What if the name was Johnson?
What she did was...
It's irrelevant whether her name is Danbury or not, because here's the problem with that. You could have had a relationship. You could have given her a name, all that stuff. The bottom line is, there has nothing to do with her now taking this baby out of your yard. And if it was with your permission, why all of this? Why all the 911 calls? Why all the stuff that you've had history with?
If it was okay, so my thing is that I try to analyze it and try to be as reasonable as possible, to talk to you. So let's say, even if she took her out without permission, given that, if she or Jerry goes to her and says, give her back, and she's refusing, and then tries to hop in a car with her, because prior to her showing up, Jerry was on the phone with Brandy, who I was with her sister, and he was on FaceTime, and we're yelling with Jerry, take her, because he's on her ass.
Right. My brother is autistic and cognitively impaired, but he is fully capable of taking care of a child.
Absolutely.
He has taken care of every single one of mine for the past 7 years while I work.
Sure.
Never have I came home and my kid had a bruise. Never have I came home and my kid wasn't fed. A diaper wasn't changed. My brother is fully capable.
He's cognitively fit.
Very competent.
That's all we have to know.
Try to make it seem like my brother wasn't competent enough to give any type of permission.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with that.
He's not competent enough to give any type of statement. Period.
No.
Okay. Let's do this because we got to walk this down slow, because they're going to see this if they're not already looking. Keep in mind, if they don't think that he's fit, then why didn't they give you a ticket for child endangerment, leaving your child with someone who's unfit to care for him? See, there's so many mistakes that they made here, they'll never be able to reel this back in. Now, I'm just saying one thing. She took the baby without your permission, without Nikki's permission, without your brother's permission, and she also lured the baby with candy, which is some stranger danger shit altogether. The baby obviously doesn't know you well enough to where she would just jump over the fence or whatever, or walk away with you. You have to lure her. Now, with the police knowing that she lured her with some candy, that right there, they should be looking at that as strange if this is somebody that's automatically in her life.
I literally said that to them.
But they didn't want to hear that.
I literally said that to them. I was like, that's not a red flag to you that she had to do all of that?
And then you waited till my brother walked in.
I'm your uncle, and here's some candy and some noodles, some ramen noodles. And then not only did you not, just try to pursue her. First of all, my thing is
were the noodles cooked? Were the noodles cooked? I mean, she offered a baby some ramen noodles. Who offers a baby ramen noodles at 80-degree weather?
I'm not even sure if they're cooked or not. My daughter, my 7-year-old, took them from her and wouldn't let her have them.
I get it.
She said, I don't know her.
Baby noodles, though. I mean, I don't get that. Well, you offer a baby noodles and shit.
And then, you're doing that, acting like they're not fed at my house. If I go in my freezer, there's nothing but food in my freezer.
Her whole
it's just her trying to find a way to get into these kids' lives. And mind you, my daughter has been around this neighborhood. Everybody knows my kid. The candy was not ate and the candy was not laced, man. My baby took it and threw it away.
Good. Okay. Keep in mind that the facts that you gave them and the fact that they didn't just say, look, this is too weird for us. Give this woman back her baby. Put your hands behind your back. Read her rights. Drive her down to Hogback and Washtenaw. Process her for an abduction attempt. Let her PR out. Do whatever you need to do. But they didn't even make a case of an abduction here. How did they get around abduction, kidnapping, child endangerment? I mean, how did
it's a gray area. And then made me out to be the bad guy.
What's gray about the area? What's gray about it, though? Did they explain?
Exactly.
That's what we've been trying to figure out.
Was that this individual that kept saying it was a gray area?
Yes.
So was he the lead officer on the scene?
Yes.
He was a sergeant on the scene, and his words was, but baby mamas keep their kids from baby daddies all the time.
He said what?
Baby mamas keep their kids from baby daddies all the time. Women do this all the time. So it could be a situation like that.
He said it's hearsay.
It's hearsay.
And when I started getting frustrated, because I knew at this point, I knew they weren't going to arrest her. I'm not stupid. So I'm like, okay, so I know you're not going to arrest her, but I'm telling you right now, officer, that this is why women who get raped don't come to officers. This is why women who gets battered and beat don't come to police. Is because you always say it's hearsay. It's his word against hers, or it's and this is not the first time that I called them and they had a smug demeanor about themselves, where it was because it's a 2-female relationship. They don't take it as serious. You understand what I'm saying? And
I absolutely, look, I know more than you think I know. Trust me. So here's the situation. Alan just said he was the last to arrive on the scene. So now I've got
Officer Williams was the first one.
Now I've got an issue because he took over the investigation, and that could have happened based on rank, based on his qualifications to negotiate and all of that. But he was the last onto the scene. I'm going to play the card, and I play the card when I need to play the card. So I'm going to play the card because Nikki already played the card. She already let everybody know that we understand that Black life is not valued the same way other lives are. So I'm going to play the card. How many other Black officers were on the scene?
None. It was just him.
Oh, so he was the only Black officer on the scene. He was the last officer on the scene, but he swooped in and started to be the voice and the mouthpiece for WCSO.
And then the officer that had the hat on was being, excuse my French, but he was being a real dickhead. They kept telling me to shut up. I'm like, I told them, you cannot make me shut up. That's a violation of my amendment. I will say what I want.
So, and don't worry about it. We speak French here well. So you speak your French tonight. You ain't got to excuse yourself. So had anybody really got into interviewing y'all or trying to figure things out before Bynum shows up?
They completely tried to silence everyone that showed up and showed out for me and my daughter. So when she showed up, her boyfriend, and I was in the car with her sister because I was working with her sister. We're on a highway, and we talked to them by the time they got there. Before they got there, we seen what was going on before she showed up, because we heard when she showed up, because she started, she's gonna make herself known. Like she said, she was making a scene. So prior to her showing up, I seen her trying to put her into a car, a black, I want an SUV of some sort. Excuse me.
Sure.
A black SUV of some sort. And me and Brandy were like, make sure you get that plate number. Do not let her get into that car, because mind you, I have been with this woman for 7 years. I don't know who she hangs around. I have no contacts with her. If she would have gotten into that car, I would have no way to have contacted her or found my daughter. And you're telling me that makes sense to you? That's okay. So if she didn't show up when she did, because Jerry didn't want to put his hands on her and grab Coda out of her hands, because I was on the phone with Jerry. It was like, I'm giving you permission to physically take the Coda out of her hands.
But he couldn't do that because she waited. No, not just that, but she kept
trying to pull that. I'm a female. I'm gonna press charges. Yeah, no, she's trying to play games. She's not.
But you was just an uncle. Now you're a female.
Okay, so let's just bounce to that. Let's bounce to that. So she tells Dakota that she's her uncle, and I take it that she has masculine characteristics.
She looks like a boy.
She looks like a boy. Okay, so she tells Dakota that she's her uncle, and to help lure her, and she's associating with her as if she's a male. Now, as soon as Jerry
and Alan blocked her in, when Alan even walked within like a few feet of her, she started saying, "Oh, you're a grown man. I'm a female." But mind you, first, when she walked past him, she tried to say, "What up?" And he said, "Yeah, but you're going to have to give me that baby, though." And that's when her demeanor changed.
My thing is, if you're her other parent, why would you have to approach her as her uncle? If you're her other parent, if you know her so well, and you think and you know that this baby knows you so fucking well, excuse my language, why would you have to approach her as her uncle?
And this is the thing. She's not in her life like that. If Dakota is 7, then Dakota knows an aunt from an uncle. She knows that, but she also knows relationship. If you're not in her life as her uncle or her aunt or whatever, why do you introduce yourself? And if you were, like you said, as a co-parent, why wouldn't she just be her mom?
Right.
Why wouldn't you just say, come to mommy, come to mom, whatever you would,
why would she even have to? Because if I see her, if she's at school and I'm picking her up and I see her, she just straight runs to me. You know what I'm saying? There is no ifs, ands, buts about it. When she sees Nicole, when she sees Brandy, people who are actively in her life, who actually care about her, who knows her well, there is no question. There's no coercion. There is just her knowing, and she is completely secure. And there is absolutely, she would never say she's scared.
Right.
If she's scared, your selfish, sick mind, and you still didn't care about that.
Right.
And that's what's bothering me the most, is because you're putting my daughter in a toxic situation where cops are involved. You're dragging her all over the place. You know what I mean? Oh no, come here. She said, she's telling her, oh, when Alan pulled up, he tries to get her. Or no, when Nicole tried to get her, bring her ass here. Or I don't even talk to her like that.
What?
Get your ass over here, is what she said. This is what she said verbatim. Get your ass over here.
This is what Uncle is saying?
This is what Nicole, was that you when she tried to get you? Mm-hmm. You tried to get her, and she said she grabbed her and snatched her back and said, "Get your ass over here."
Yeah, that was her she grabbed and said, "Get your ass over here." And I said, "Dakota Nyla, you run DOTT right now." And she tried to run at me. She grabbed her again. And at this point, I was ready to put my hands on her. And the sheriff pulled up. And I ran to Woolham's and told him, "Get my niece or I'm going to jail." I'm a felon. I'm on felony probation right now.
I get it. I watched the video. I get it. You was in it. You said, "Look, I'm going to call my PO now and just let him know I'm going to jail." I get it. And I would expect nothing less if we're trying to fight to keep a 7-year-old in pocket.
For this. And they didn't give a fuck.
We just had a 2-year-old who was snatched from her mother and murdered. We just had a 4-year-old over in the green. I don't know if
you heard my lives, but in my lives, I kept bringing that up. There was a little girl in Detroit just found dead because of something like this. Are y'all playing with us?
Yeah. Then you had a 4-year-old over in the green that went missing for several hours. And then her mother was taken into custody because she was inebriated. Then only to hear that they released the mother and put the baby back in the mother's care, even though they know she's not stable. And this is all within a couple weeks. So one death, one missing, taking mother into custody, know she's not stable, put the baby back in the arms, and then you have this situation. So I'm not really understanding. Now tell me this.
And I'm just gonna be honest, I'm still trying to like fix myself from this last situation where them 4 kids were shot. I was a person on scene of that accident. I gave one of them boys CPR until the ambulance came, the kid that was in the back of that Jeep. Yeah. So I'm already going through it mentally. And then for this to happen, I'm livid with Washtenaw County. Not one cop showed up to pay their respects. Not one cop has shown up to actually do what they need to do. And then this girl is still sitting outside my house harassing me. Now.
So let me ask you this. I don't expect much out of people who show up on the scene other than to basically secure the ongoings. But when you start talking about some of the capabilities, the lack of depth that I'm hearing from these deputies, from the sheriff's department, it's actually kind of amazing. Now, I don't know this Bynum kid, and I'm going to call him a kid. You know, I'm not sure exactly what his age is. He's probably mid-30s, early 40s. I don't know him, but when he uses his black card, because I'm gonna use the black card right here to say that this happens a lot with baby mamas and baby daddies. Well, first and foremost, we're not dealing with a baby mama and a baby daddy. So for him to go there and be that stereotypical and to be that flat with his commentary. So what you see a lot of mothers and fathers having differences, but the fact that he used baby mama, baby daddy, because I don't think if he shows up in a white neighborhood, he uses baby mama, baby daddy. Absolutely. I don't think so. So maybe he had the lingo to play bingo that night, but I'm sorry. Are you going to do that? Also being disrespectful, also being dismissive, and then to see this woman have a woman who said she was her uncle, who's imitating a man, to see this woman have this baby and then not put cuffs on her for an abduction?
In a black hoodie in 90-degree weather.
Come on, man.
And you guys let her go.
So do you think that she was lurking around the area waiting for y'all to leave and that's when she made her move?
I didn't know. We didn't know that the girl's uncle was living across the street. And then
whose
basically
uncle?
The girl was over there in Cena.
Whose uncle?
Deja, the kidnapper girl.
So she got family right across the street from you?
Right across the street from me. So they trespassed her because we told the officer Williams that that's where she's staying at, because I guess that's where she's supposed to be staying at.
I got information for that too. After the fact, her uncle, I got in contact with her uncles because apparently Nicole tried to.
I was beating on their door.
She tried to knock on their door.
I did more than knock. I was really trying to kick
on
it
their
in.
door, and then he said, "Oh, I was in dialysis at the time." But I told Deja that. So she had 2 uncles over there. One of which
was over to the scene.
Was over at the scene, and he said that prior to all of this happening, he said, "Don't mess with that little girl because her mama not fucking with you." Excuse my language. But her mama's not fucking with you. Don't mess with that little girl. So the more I told him, I was like, because you said that, nobody knows this person as well as I do.
Sure.
Because she's a narcissist. When I say, the moment she said, "Oh, your mama's not fucking with you," she made it a point
to pop back up. Because
she has gotten away with it with these officers, and she'll say, "Oh, that's what, call the cops. Call the cops." She knows how to play the system. She knows how to play victim. Hence why she's pulled that, "Oh, I'm a female."
On top of it, she called the police while I'm on the phone with the police to tell them that she has
her. And he had the nerve to say, if she was kidnapping her, why would she call the police? Because she knows exactly what the fuck she's doing.
And she knew she wasn't supposed to have her. And because when she tried to call me and try to reason with me, I told her I got the police on the way. There is no reasoning with me. Let my niece go, flat out. So she called him too.
What was her reasoning for calling the police? What was her justification that she had the baby?
There is none.
There is none.
And they didn't care about none of that.
So she told them, Okay, so but what did she say? I just picked up my daughter, or I picked up my niece.
No,
and
well, I don't know what they told her, because like I said, they kept their conversation with her between them, and then they talked to us or talked to me, because they didn't care to get a statement from her. They didn't care to get a statement from Jerry. They didn't care to get a statement from me. Well, they got a statement from me, but her sister was in a car prior to her showing up.
That call was recorded too. Her call to the police department recorded.
We were on Facebook
video call.
Yeah, video call. We watched her try to take my child into a car that I don't know.
Ellen was parked behind this vehicle, so they couldn't move.
And when she pulled up, by the time she got there, mind you, law enforcement is just now getting there. So by the time law enforcement is coming, now they want to get the hell on. They don't want no parts. But at the end of the day, they're still accessory to the fact.
Okay, so she never let the baby go. When did she actually release Dakota?
When Officer Williams walked over to her and made her let her come to me. That's when Dakota ran to me and told me, I'm scared, TT.
Completely unacceptable.
Dakota said she was scared?
Dakota would tell you out her own mouth.
So
I have this little girl in my house right now. I can bring her on this podcast, and she will tell you out of her own mouth.
Because of the hypeness, maybe not tonight, but here's the thing. I want to talk to her at some point, because I think down the line, if we're in a situation where...
Why would it take them...
My kids were scared to go to the Green the next day.
Why would it take the officer to get them? If she's clearly in their care, why would it take an officer to get my daughter from you when you have multiple people trying to get her and you're refusing to give her up? You're trying to get her you're trying to take her into a car and take her to God knows fucking where. And why does it take all of that? And then you're telling me, as an officer of the law, that doesn't raise a red flag? And then you're talking about PPO. Fuck that PPO.
Yeah.
As far as the fucking stalking has gone, me being in safe house because of this person, me going through years of abuse because of this person, and you saying that's not enough?
I mean, I guess my thing is, a PPO is only for somebody who is trying to avoid jail. Oh man, they got a PPO on me, so I'm not going to go any further, because that's automatic jail time.
She doesn't care. That's what I'm trying to get them to understand. Even if I do get a PPO,
she's not going to care about that PPO,
because she knows that it's only a certain amount of time before they get there, and by the time that they get there, she's going to be fucking gone.
So, I mean, this actually shows a plot.
I'm sorry. Excuse me for being loud, but I'm so frustrated with this, and I'm so exhausted with Washtenaw County Police Department, because this is not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth fucking time that I've called them and they've let me down because they want to be smug and they want to have they don't take it serious.
Have you ever met
people get killed all the fucking time? Children get killed. I could have gotten killed by this bitch and they wouldn't have given a fuck until I was dead.
Do you know this person here? Has this person ever come out and talked to you?
Even if I was dead, they wouldn't have done a full investigation.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, have you ever met this person on the screen? Do you know who that is?
No, I have not.
Okay. You don't know that person? Cammy, you don't know that person?
I'm cry, bro. I swear I want to cry, but
never even seen him.
Because this is ridiculous.
Hey, if you gotta lose it, lose it on here. You can lose it with me. I'm good with it.
So that's the sheriff.
I'm not going to cry because at the end of the fucking day, I'm tired of
that's the sheriff. That's the sheriff. By now, it seems like you would have crossed paths with him. Now, sometimes you don't actually meet the person who's in charge of the county. I get it. But let me ask you this. Do you know this individual here?
No.
Mm-mm.
This is the person who is actually running for sheriff now. But his title with the county is Community Engagement Officer. And if you don't know anything about what a community engagement officer is, it is exactly what it sounds like. He's supposed to engage with the community. And when things happen in communities and troublesome situations arise, you generally see this person come out to the situation and try to talk to members of the community to mediate. You also will see him on TV. If there's a crime, he will get himself up on television and give that interview. So to tell me that you don't know who this individual is and you don't know who this individual is lets me know that the two people who hold pretty much the highest positions where you're going to see people publicly come out from the WCSO is lunacy, because this person here has been the sheriff for 15 years. He's been the sheriff for 15 years.
Yeah, no, it's only the 3 officers that was in that live that showed up.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. And this individual here is the community engagement officer, and he's been on the WCSO staff just as long as the sheriff has been a sheriff. So these two people know the Danbury Green, all of any area that's densely populated with Black folks, they've been in, and they've made their faces known for whatever political reasons that they've needed to in the past. But my problem is right now, you've got someone like this in your face telling you that this is what happens with baby mamas and baby daddies all the time. Now, I don't know who trained him. I don't know if Jerry Clayton trained him. I don't know if Derek Jackson trained him, but somebody trained him to talk to mothers who are in a stressful situation with a potential abduction happening with their 7-year-old by somebody who's not even connected to them, who's impersonating a male, who hid herself across the street and who got basically a quarter of a mile away before she could be stopped. But they want to play on the fact that baby mamas and baby daddies argue all the time. We have an issue here way bigger than baby mama, baby daddies. And that's an issue. If she gets into that car, we're not here today. If
our reaction time would have been so fast, she would have been gone and we would not have been able to find her.
We're not here today. We know this. And I'm not saying that she would have done anything harmful to Dakota, but you, like you said, you would have had no way to find her because you don't have any connection with her. So you don't know phone numbers, you don't know addresses. The only thing you probably really have is the uncle who's across the street who already told her, leave that baby alone, leave them people alone. But since she didn't do that, she went against her own people's wishes and commands. Now she is an aggravated kidnapper at this point. She knows better. She's just not willing to do better. And you have this individual in your face telling you that mamas and daddies, baby mamas and baby daddies happens all the time. So
correct, they're empowering her behavior.
They're enabling her behavior.
Did they give her any type of citation for what happened on the 22nd?
No, all they did was give her a trespassing from the green.
And they didn't even follow through with that.
And then that's where I'm going to next. They didn't even follow through with that. So obviously the kidnapping happened on Saturday, 7/22. Sunday, 7/23. Today's Monday, correct?
Yeah.
The 24th, yeah. So yesterday, 7/23. I pulled up to my house in the green. I go in my house. Mind you, as I'm walking in my house, I hear a whole group of people talking about, hey, white girl, hey, white girl, hey, white girl. I ignore them. I keep it walking. I already knew what time it was. I come back out. This she-man want to be uncle, grandma, daddy, whatever she wants to be at this moment in time, is basically starting stuff with me, trying to antagonize me. So as I back out, they're talking about, hey, Angel. So I looked at her and I said, bitch, you know I'm not Angel. But if you want to fight me, we could throw him.
Who's Angel?
And then I proceeded. The Angel is my friend that lives across the street, which they know it's not me because she lives across the street. And a whole different lot from my house.
You as much as I know.
And Deja knows me. Deja knows who I am. The kidnapper knows who I am.
So are these the kidnappers' friends then?
Yes. Angel is my friend. But this is all the kidnappers' friends. They're flicking me off, trying to start stuff with me. Alan's in the car.
Right.
So at this point in time, like I said to them, you guys know me. So if you want to fight, we can throw them. Because I'm not about to play with you. And then I proceeded to call the police and I let them know that she's back in the green. She's supposed to have a trespass. They picked her up and let her go.
If they didn't put bracelets on her, they
put bracelets on her, drove her out the green, let her go, and she was right back in 5 minutes. Right across the street from our house again.
They didn't roll her down to Hogback?
No. They put cuffs on her and let her go somewhere in the front or outside of the green. And she was right back across the house, or across the street from my house 5 minutes after the police left. My kids are scared to go home.
I'm scared.
My 4-year-old cried for an hour. I had to convince my baby to stay with her uncle because I had to go to work and her dad had to go to work. But they were scared to stay in the green because of this. And I've lived there for almost 6 years.
So I guess my thing is that was, I mean, I don't know if that's protocol, so I don't want to call what police do, but I guess I'm unsure why they detain her and then let her outside of the gate as if she's not gonna come back in.
Like that. Right. But my thing is too, this is what I've been saying for the longest time. For one, because he said he wanted to use, of course, when you call the police, they try to find some way to flip it on you. Find somebody that is gonna watch your children better. If my kids should not be scared to go outside. I get it, it's a different time than when I grew up in the 90s when we were feral and in the woods. No. So my kid can't even be outside on the porch and her uncle go inside to even take a piss or get a glass of water, and you're telling me that you can't hold a grown-ass woman accountable for her fucking actions, but you can try to sit here and turn it around on me and on my sister and on my on my people, because she went inside the house for 5 seconds and then you waited. And the fact that you waited until nobody else was around to pull this shit,
but didn't realize that
it's yet another red flag.
You got told on by a child.
So, I mean,
that's why everything got shut down so quick, because it happened so quick. The moment she took off with her, Madison ran into the house and told Jerry.
Jerry instantly called me. I instantly told him to chase after her. I was only 5 minutes away. I was over off of Forest. My house is in the green. So it took me less than 5 minutes to get to my house. Mm-hmm. That's how fast I was driving. Mm-hmm. Less than 5 minutes to get to my house. I ran through the green. I didn't go in the car. I got out in front of my house on foot. I'm banging on their door. I ran halfway through the woods. Then the operator tells me, do you know anybody by 1425 Stanford? I said no. So when she gave me the address, I started running towards that address, trying to figure out where 1425 was. Alan passes me going down Stanford and blocks them in down at the park. I make it down there. Like I said, my dog followed me the whole way. He stopped. He licked a few people, but he's not aggressive. He's a puppy. Very sweet dog. When I say this dog has not been trained to follow me, he has not been trained to follow me. He did this on his own. He has not been trained to walk without a leash. He does it on his own. This dog didn't run up to an officer. He ran up and checked on Dakota. He checked on the baby first, went straight to the kid.
He knows the baby. He knows the baby, right.
My dog is not aggressive. I've had this dog since he was 6-7 weeks old. He's been around nothing but kids. Literally nothing but kids. I have a 1-year-old son all the way to a 14-year-old son. I got 6 kids. And I've been around Dakota for her whole life. So for this officer to sit up and try to make it seem like I was a bad parent or a bad babysitter, I take offense to that. I'm already mentally going through some with, like I said, I was a witness to some horrible stuff.
I mean, he's trying to imprison y'all in your own neighborhood. Now he's basically saying you got to keep your kids all inside. Right. Kids can't play outside.
They won't even follow
they won't even follow the trespass.
I don't even feel comfortable Coda being over there, because at the end of the day, Coda can't be over there if you're not going to obey your own law when it comes to the trespass.
My kids ain't even going to the green right now.
Yeah, they're not even enforcing their own standards that they're setting. So that's really kind of strange to me.
My autistic brother is scared to go outside because he's worried that this girl is going to shoot him.
She's going
to retaliate on him. And like I told my brother, at this point, since Washtenaw County don't want to do their job, I will go to jail for what I love. You call me. Anybody even attempts to even smug, say anything to you, you call me. Mind you, my brother is not at the house by himself. My other brother is there with him. Mm-hmm. He's much bigger and much scarier, but it's just the point that my autistic brother shouldn't have to be worried about walking around his own apartment.
And I appreciate your fervor, and I appreciate the love that you have for Dakota, for Cammie, for the family, but you need to stay out. You got to stay with your babies. Don't let this tramp this shunkle, because she's a she and she's an uncle, so she's a shunkle. So don't let this shunkle put you behind bars for any reason.
Everybody to calm down.
And that's the only reason why I didn't put my hands on her, because like I said,
exactly what she would have wanted.
I was not going, and I made it very clear to the officer, I'm on felony probation, but I will go to jail for my children, and that is mine.
That should say enough.
And I told the officer, she is mine.
That speaks volumes.
My blood or not, that is mine. I've been around this little girl her whole life. So I've changed her diapers. I helped teach her how to walk. I did all that. Her and Maddie started walking together.
Everybody that showed up that day was willing to go to jail.
We all was willing to go to jail, including my brother. My brother don't put his hands on women. He was willing to put his hands on Shim.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I've never been an advocate for putting my hands on a woman, but
at the end of the day,
I don't know what
happens.
happens.
Why people don't trust cops and they take shit into their own hands because they don't trust them to do their job.
Yeah, I got to do that.
They're not going to do their job out here.
I got to do that night in jail. If you grab my grandkids, I got to do that night in jail. I'm gonna be out in the morning.
She said, this is why women don't come to the police. Do you know how many women are getting raped or beat on and they don't go to the police because a cop? When you are a woman in a domestic violence situation, they will call CPS on you and make it seem like you're a bad parent because you're the one getting beat up. And I went through this. I've experienced this as a mother. My son's father was choking me and beating my ass. I called the police.
Because it's hearsay.
And although I had marks,
you got some bitches that will fuck it up for everybody.
Cammy, hold on. I got investigated by CPS for being a bad parent and child endangerment because I got beat up by my kid's father.
I've heard all of these stories way too many times because there's no depth with the investigative situation. So when you get people who show up, and I don't know if Shane Bynum is married and has kids or just has kids and raising children, or I don't know if anybody else that showed up, has children, but as a parent and as a grandparent, the first thing that I'm thinking of is the welfare of the child. So if I show up on the scene and someone other than the parent is holding that child, I'm going at them. I'm asking them who they are and what are they doing with the child. I haven't been to anybody's police academy. I haven't been to anybody's law school. Okay. But
common sense is common sense, and clearly common sense ain't so common with Washtenaw County right now.
Well, we'll see. The thing is, it's the only ball game we got. So unless we're going to minimize what the county is supposed to do, because the county was really just supposed to be the jail at one time. They didn't know it was going to balloon into this big corporate infrastructure. Really, the Washtenaw County jail was what it was. They turned it into this big conglomerate, and now they control so much stuff, and they have tentacles and everything with community mental health and all kinds of things, and nobody is doing their job properly. If you haven't met Derek Jackson, after dealing with all of these domestic situations in your community, that means you're being failed by Washtenaw County, and that's the person who wants to run for the next sheriff. If you haven't met Jerry Clayton during this time, during 15 years of him being sheriff, that means WCSO has failed you. Because I know that they plant themselves on the south side, and I know that they plant themselves in other areas, but you have a ton of shit going on in your area, a ton of it.
All the time.
And I know it's patrolled. I know people are through there, but what's happening is they don't regard your life the same way as they regard other lives. And if you're not politically clicked in with them,
But I bet you if I had a $20,000 house, they would have came to my rescue. Or if I would have had a house over in this little nice white neighborhood, or if my kids were white, they'd be coming to help us. But they're not doing that because my children ain't white. I have mixed children. They're not doing that because I live in the green and not in this nice house over in this nice neighborhood.
Sure.
We're what? Because we're not white enough for you?
Well, once you go over, once you go black, I mean, I'm just being real with you. I've seen this happen.
I've always been like this. I never grew up in a white neighborhood. I'm from Brightmoor. I grew up in the system. I grew up in foster care. I grew up in and out of group homes. I've lived this life. Sure. So it's like I've been a part of the black community my whole life. My mother is a black woman. Sure. Her name is Michelle Yates. And God, man, I love this woman to death because if it wasn't for her, she saved me as a black woman taking on a white foster child who was so messed up in the head. Mm-hmm. So I've been in this community my whole life. So it's like, I'll speak. I'll be the one to say you can't shut me up. I'll be the one to say that you guys won't be here, because if it was a white child, you would have taken her to jail. That is exactly the issue. Yeah. And like I said, had I been on the other side of the block, or even if we would have been in a more richer neighborhood, if we was more of a classier, we would have been okay. But because we don't have money and we're in the hood or we're in the ghetto, they want to make it seem like it's okay and just bypass everything like that. It doesn't matter that our child almost came up missing. It doesn't matter that this girl could have possibly or potentially killed my niece. And I'm just going to be honest, I will speak like that because you never know what a person might do nowadays.
We're not even, we don't have the ability to take it light. We just saw, like I said, what happened to young Winter. We just saw what happened to a kid who went missing.
And this baby didn't even belong to that man.
She have said before.
He stepped over his child. He had a child there. He stepped over his child and took another man's child. And so his child still lives. His child still lives. Not that I would have wanted his baby to meet a demise either, but it was a very calculated situation. See, this is the thing. This individual, Deja, she has no regard for Dakota and her sanctity. Because if she regarded Dakota's sanctity, she wouldn't be pulling these little shenanigans like this. This is nightmare causing.
Exactly.
This baby's going to be. She's going to be looking over her shoulder to see if somebody's going to snatch her or be luring her for doing whatever for how God knows how long. That can't happen, and that's where CPS and social services and counselors to come out and be able to guide you, to a better situation. But you're not even getting functional help with the sheriff's department. The police aren't doing their jobs by taking this criminal. Because that's criminal what she's done. She's taken a baby. She's tried to before, but she's actually now taken her, gotten damn near away. I mean, hell, anything happens. Alan misses a turn. Alan's car stops. Alan don't get there. They're gone. They're gone. Then what WCSO saying? They gonna talk that baby mama, baby daddy shit then? Then you gonna have the little smug look by the little white boy deputy? I mean, come on now. No, that's when you'll get somebody like a Derek Jackson or a Jerry Clayton over in your neighborhood trying to pass out shit and tell you this, that, and the other. But the plight has happened. Or you'll get people in your neighborhood trying to sing and pray and all kinds of shit and have vigils and shit where this can be stopped.
Exactly.
This can be stopped.
It can be stopped beforehand.
It can be stopped beforehand. You take her ass to jail and you arrest her and you charge her with attempted kidnapping.
I'm just going to be honest, and I know this isn't quite the same thing, but I'll use my case for example. I am on felony probation because I gave somebody a ride in Ann Arbor.
Now you got to explain this. You got to explain this.
Okay, I had my friend in the car, and one of my other friends, I'm not going to say two because I didn't know the other gentleman. I only knew one of them. He said, hey, look, I'll give you some gas money, to drop us out to this party out in Ann Arbor. This is when the Michigan games was going. So I'm used to them going out to parties with the Michigan games. This was nothing unusual. It's not my first time giving them a ride. But this is my first time having an issue. When I picked them up, I was in an Intrepid, and in an Intrepid, the middle part in the back seat comes down. So you're able to put stuff in the trunk. When I pulled up, it was awkward because it was like this real dark street. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, this don't seem right.
Right.
So he gets in the car, him and his friend, they're moving around too much. They're shoving stuff in my trunk. Before I even pull over, I'm pulling in to the Cottage Inn to tell them to get out the car because you're moving too much. I'm not feeling this. You're making me nervous.
Right.
I felt something wasn't right. As soon as I pulled in the Cottage Inn, Ann Arbor police pulled up. Come to find out, these two had beat up some white boy out in Ann Arbor, and they had broken into some houses. I got charged with a felony home invasion for an area I was not even at. I wasn't in the house, near the home, no nothing.
Because you gave them the ride.
Because I gave them a ride, and then they dropped it down to a felony accessory after the fact.
So, but couldn't they ping your phone to show that you weren't in that area?
They didn't try to do any of that. They didn't care about none of that. They just wanted to pin me and make an example out of me for being a white woman in a car full of black people.
Yeah.
And I'll say it. That's exactly what it is. You guys use me to try to make an example.
Look, my listeners, anybody, I get 3-4 people that look at me, on my streams. My people, they already know how I know about this stuff. You're absolutely going to be guilty because you're associated.
That's which is, you know, like
because you associated. I can't paint that picture no differently than I've ever painted it. And you know, anyone that I've ever been in a situation with, I'm like, look, please understand, you with me today, you black. You're gonna get thrown in the wheel. So if you ain't ready to take on
all of that would have been fine and dandy. But if I was, you know, if you're gonna throw me in the wheel, at least let me know what I'm going to do. I can't tell on myself.
You don't need all that. You don't need all that information.
But like, I had nothing to do with it, so it was like, for me, I was shocked, and they're asking me questions.
Also, you got.
But I also have rights.
Yeah, you have rights. If you're not,
and they should have investigated that better. And I kept telling them, and even in my interview, as they're talking, I'm telling them like I didn't know. I had nothing to do with this. I don't know. And they're trying to tell me, oh, well, you're going to lose your kids. You're facing 7-8 felonies. And like I told them, I didn't know. Take me to the jail. Oh, I paid for a lawyer. I'm paying $5,000 for a lawyer who didn't do nothing for me, Fred. Or Frida, I'm sorry.
5 Gs? And you still on probation?
And I'm still on felony probation for the next 2 years. I have to pay $1,600. Plus, I have to do trauma classes. I have to get my GED, which is fine because I was going back.
Who'd you traumatize? Oh, shit.
Apparently, I beat up a white boy and didn't know I beat up a white boy. But when they went to court, the kid never said anything about me. They never said anything about the car I was driving. They never even brought me up. Only the police did. And my lawyer didn't try to fight it.
$5,000 attorney didn't move
did not try to fight it. I feel like he took like some type of little cop or plea, or he was working with him. But at the end of the day, it was either I go to jail or I take the plea for accessory after the fact and do the probation. That's basically what they was telling me. And I wasn't going to prison. So I took the plea.
I'm moving for a dismissal if the victims come in there and be like, we don't know who she is. She wasn't there. She wasn't around. I'm moving for it. I'm moving
he didn't try to do none of that.
They want you to take that plea.
But we're just using this as like an example as to how they tried to play me. So like this is where I'm going.
Now they want to act like they want to do their fucking job. At the end of the fucking day, they're biased.
They're biased as hell.
Who and when and what they want to, when they want to use the book. Because one of the officers, oh, we got to go by the book. That's bullshit.
Back in 2014,
when you want to go by the book, because at the end of the fucking day, you can be a robot 80% of the time, but 20%.
I don't know if anybody ever heard of the Judge Christopher Easthope. He worked for 15th District in Ann Arbor.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when weed first became legal. You was allowed to carry up to an ounce in Ann Arbor.
Mm-hmm.
If you was 21 and over. I was 22 years old. I had 9.6 grams of weed on me. I got charged with a weed case and put in. It was like a sobriety court, but it wasn't the actual sobriety court by Judge Chris Easthope for not even a year later for him to lose his job as a judge for smoking weed with an attorney and doing all this other stuff.
Wait a minute. You had just a little bit more than a quarter of an ounce of weed. How they give you a charge?
They charged me. Judge Christopher Easthope charged me.
You could carry up to an ounce. If you can carry up to 28 grams, you only had 9. So how did that case even get to court?
I don't even know, but they charged me, and I did like 6 months of probation, and then I basically told them I'm not doing the probation no more. And I went on the run, and I stayed away.
But this bitch tried to take my daughter down, and she.
Oh yeah, I stayed away, and then I waited for about a good year, and then I finally went back and went and closed the case out. And the Judge Pope said I should have never been in that group in the first place.
Wow. Well,
so I did 6 months in jail because of that case. Because they put me in a women's sobriety court. And because I told myself I'm going to quit smoking weed. For cannabis.
So they just get money. They just
but a bitch can kidnap a kid. A bitch can kidnap a kid and take her away from my house, and it's okay.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Like I said, this individual right here, this person is somebody that should have been all up in your grill for this last several years, because I know he's done a lot of the community walks and they do 3-on-3
I've never seen that man in the almost. I've been living in Ypsilanti since 2014, and I have never seen him.
He'd be acting like he outside. So, you know, my thing is this. What I know.
Outside his house? Drinking a margarita? On his lawn chair? Because he ain't outside with nobody else.
He does kind of look like he can make margarita, like he can make a really good margarita. He can't. He's a social
with the lime
worker.
in it and everything.
He's a social worker, and he's trying to be sheriff. And I get it. I get it. But my thing is this: as a community engagement officer, his face is now plastered all over billboards and on buses around town. If you catch an AATA, you can see him on the side of a bus. They put him on the side of the bus. Now, not because of the sheriff's department, but because of community mental health, because he's on the board for community mental health. Now, what I definitely believe that Cammie's family and even your family, Nikki, definitely need community mental health to talk about some counseling because of this individual that has now been terrorizing y'all for at least 7 years. I mean, I get the whole situation that she tried to play maybe the first 6 months, year and a half, but that shit kind of fades out. She's trying this going into year 8, and now she's had an actual abduction attempt.
Yes.
Damn near got away.
Yes.
And they didn't even do anything but detain her and take her right outside of the gate at Danbury. And you said she was back, 5-10 minutes after the cops got cleared out?
Yes, that was Sunday. And when she did what she did on Saturday, the only reason they put her in the car is because I straight up told her in front of the cops, say one more word to Dakota and I'm going to put my hands on you. Say one more word to her trying to antagonize us. Don't play with me, bitch. And those were my words, because I'm going to put my hands on you in front of these police officers. So the one cop with the hat put the Deja girl in the back of his car, and they drove her back to wherever she was going. So y'all worried about her safety, but you're not worried about the safety of this little girl she just tried to put in a car?
I wish I had a professional.
Get off that window.
I wish I had a professional, and by morning I will. I should have reached out to someone in law enforcement. I just want to know the protocol for, like, what would determine them to have thought that this would have been an abduction attempt to the point where they would have arrested her. And everybody knows it's getting dark, y'all. I caught y'all in the car, so I appreciate y'all coming up when you went. As long as I can hear your voices, we're good.
The kids.
I got you. So let's keep it. We'll keep it low, and we're gonna keep it short. Because here's the thing. I don't think this is the only time that we're going to talk. I think we're going to talk again. I'm confused about the word attempt. She took the child. The word attempt is because once Alan blocked her in with the car, and once Nikki got on the scene and Jerry, the brother, got on the scene, and the police got on the scene, she wasn't actually able to get away with the abduction. So of course she actually did abduct her. This is where it gets a little, gray area. She did abduct that child. Yeah. She abducted her, and she got away about a quarter of a mile down the way. The fact that she didn't get away, where they had to get into a chase and come find her, there was still an abduction. That's what I'm trying to determine.
Yes, it was an abduction.
There was an abduction. Even though it only lasted for a short period of time, maybe the abduction would have gone into a full-blown kidnapping.
Had I have been a bad parent or babysitter, like Officer, what was his name? Oh. The black dude? The only black officer on the scene?
Shane Bynum, this guy right here?
Yep, Mr. that man right there.
This one right here, okay.
Yes, that man right there. What was I saying?
So how do you actually... Sergeant Shane Bynum.
Yeah, Shane Bynum. What was I saying before that? I
lost like, had you actually been a bad
Oh yeah, had I been a bad parent like he said I was, I would have never been able to react that fast to getting my needs.
So let me ask you something. And I know that we're emotional here. I'm very excitable, and when it comes to kids, I go to a whole nother level. So, did he actually say bad parent?
He basically said, what was his words exactly?
He said, well, instead of worrying, you need to find you a better babysitter and make sure they keep a better eye on your child when you go to work. And my reaction to him is that my child should not, nor my babysitter shouldn't be scared to let my child outside of their house, for however long, because that person at the end of the day needs to be held accountable as a grown ass woman to know that they're not supposed to take somebody's child without anybody's permission. And if you do walk off, when somebody tries to get them back and tell them to give them back, you refuse multiple times and end up being aggressive with my child up until law enforcement is involved. Law enforcement shouldn't have even had to be involved.
No.
The moment, first of all, you shouldn't have taken her in the first place. My opinion, because I know who this person is, first of all, you shouldn't even approach her. Second of all, you shouldn't have taken her. Third, if the moment somebody asked her for her back, you should have given her back, period. So my thing is that it took for law enforcement to even show up for you to even let her go. The fact that has to be that far every time you're around or in a, no, that's unacceptable. You're a grown ass woman. No means no in any case. And like at the end of the day, you cannot do what the fuck you want to do. This is not your child. You have no relation to this child. That's like you taking some kid that you don't know off the street and just walking away with them. Right. Because I told Dakota, I had to talk with Dakota about stranger danger, and I've tried to talk with her before, but after the situation, I went in depth about stranger danger. Just because you may have seen this person's face does not mean you know them.
So let me ask you this. So, and we don't want to be redundant. We don't have to be, because like I said, I think we're going to talk again on this subject and even other things. But when she took that child, she lured her first. So exactly. That right there, that's like I said, that's a major red flag. She had to lure her. Dakota didn't run off into her arms and she swung her around and said, "Hey, let's go for a walk, baby." And she got her away. She lured her away. And then the other baby ran in to tell Jerry that Dakota was gone. And then they gave chase. I caught this early. I caught this early in the discussion. I'm just going to walk it down slow because I might not have anything here. Sometimes my boomerang game is good, but I might not have anything here. Alan gets in the car. He chases her down, blocks in the car that she would have tried to leave with Dakota with. Eventually, Nikki gets to the scene. Jerry makes it to the scene. You're all there. I heard one of you say, and I'm not quite sure which one of you said it, but I would think that you probably know for sure or for some certainty, Deja carries a firearm?
As far as I know, yes.
But they didn't check her bag.
But they didn't check her bag. They didn't check her. I know for a fact that she is. This is her uncle. This is her uncle's words. That she is about to get Social Security. She's taking all these medications and she drinks these natty daddies, which is a beer, a strong beer that you get. And she's crazy. Her own mama don't want to deal with her because of the same reasons, as far as like the cops has to always be involved, and her mother almost lost her place because cops is always at her house. Every bridge that she has, she's burnt.
Okay, well here's the thing.
So they didn't do no breathalyzer. I wanted them to do a breathalyzer. I'm sure she had alcohol in her system.
There's a situation here that they missed so many steps. Because I would have to believe that somebody is in an inebriated state, whether it be through drugs or alcohol. So she should have indeed had a sobriety test. They should have indeed checked her persons or anything that she's carrying for a weapon. Because let's say y'all do get violent, where you actually are trying to get Deja back. She may have resorted to using that firearm. And now this situation is a whole different ball game.
Exactly.
And if you've known her to carry a firearm,
Alan said that she kept grabbing her bag and fumbling around in the bag. She put it down and kept fumbling around in it. And then when she picked it back up, she was holding it with her hand in it. And this came out of Alan's mouth. Apparently this is when Jerry cornered her and when he cornered her. But she didn't pull anything out. This is just what was seen.
And there's no reason why she should be fidgeting with the bag. I mean, unless she's looking for more ramen noodles and candy to get a baby. I don't know what the fuck she's fidgeting in the bag for, unless she's trying to get a grasp on that weapon that she possibly has. I knew that's why I played it carefully. See, I mean, and men are going to look at things a little bit differently, because here's the thing, what she did with him. She uncle. But as soon as she had an encounter with Alan, that's when she became a female. That's when she grew a vagina once again. She had a vagina once Alan starts dealing with her. But before that, she was her uncle.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that she didn't even know Alan was there for her. She walked past Alan, or tried to walk past Alan, nodded to him and said, "What's up?" His words to her was, "Yeah, I'm going to need you to give up that baby, though. Her mama sent me to get her."
And she said what at that point?
This is when, I don't know exactly what she said, but apparently she started acting all nervous, and then she was talking about, "Oh, I'm a female. You're a grown man."
So?
Right.
What that got to do with the price of tea in China?
He's not capable of taking the baby on home safely. You looking to get out the paint. You got a fucking car and shit waiting for you on the other side of the woods. If you were gonna realistically take the baby, righteously take the baby, why didn't you just take the baby from the front yard over to your uncle's house, get in the car and drive away? No, you did some sneaky shit. You did some crazy bitch shit.
So listen, at the end of the day, prior to Nikki getting here, mind you, I was on FaceTime with Jerry, and I was talking, screaming, and Brandy screaming to give the baby back. Jerry's like, just give me your bag. Just give me your bag.
Mind you, I'm
telling her, Deja, give them my child.
Man, I shouldn't have put that up.
She said, suck my dick.
She sure did.
Wait a minute.
The dick she don't have.
Wait a
now,
minute.
This is another thing that I brought to Officer Williams' attention when he stayed behind. I said, so Officer Williams, let me ask you this question. How is that her child and she ain't even got a dick? I said, there's no paperwork, no nothing. She ain't got no dick. And he said, that ain't got nothing to do with it. No, it does have something to do with it. She does not have a penis or sperm to be able to impregnate anybody.
And if she was on papers,
and then you told the police that you're her parent.
If she was on papers,
but you told this little girl you was her uncle.
Right. But you're not even on papers.
She didn't even know who you was, and then she turned around and told me and Alan both that she was scared. I told my son Cameron, which is my 13-year-old, I had him take her and the dog over to the park to go play to cool it down, so they wasn't all involved in the mix and involved, not listening to everything.
That's very smart, very astute of you. Good.
So she was over there playing with my dog, and then my dog came back to me, as he should have, because that's what he's supposed to do. He knows who his owners are. This is what he did. He ran back and forth to make sure he was okay.
The cop holding a gun on the dog, was that
he kept grabbing his gun, and this was Officer Bynum or whatever, Mr. Shane, the wannabe Terminator. Mr. Terminator here, this is what we're gonna call him. We're gonna call him Mr. Terminator because that's what he wanted to act like with his Terminator glasses, like you was big buff Tony Marie, but like you're barely a Ninja Turtle right now. And this is exactly how I feel about him. That you're just this and that, but you're grabbing your gun about a non-aggressive dog that's not doing anything to you. My dog didn't even run up to you. He did not leave from my side. And you're telling me I need to put him in a hot car on a 90, 80 some degree day.
He's willing to be aggressive as not today yet. So probably just took my whole ass dog.
But what he's trying to act like is that my dog's going to be aggressive.
So your dog's a puppy, you said, right? You say your dog's a puppy?
Then, but not the girl. If that was sickdom on her. If that was the case.
Wow. Law enforcement and CPS are all aware of the situation. And repeatedly chosen not to take action against the perpetrator. There you go.
Correct.
This is what you have. I mean, and you do have a paper trail. Now, that was something that was debated. Let me just, the dog was about 50 yards away. What? So what were you doing, trying to have target practice? I mean, 50 yards away, you're not putting in any type of danger.
It wouldn't allow them to get any closer.
I wasn't even able to get any closer. I wasn't allowed to pass the tree because they told me I was being too aggressive. But you just took a child from me.
And you have a woman that's just took my child.
And I'm a mother.
And she's smiling behind your back.
And you're smiling in my face trying to talk to her. And you think I'm not going to be aggressive? Yes, I'm going to be aggressive for my children.
You got a dispatcher telling you're aggressive. You got deputies telling you're aggressive. This is a child that was just taken out of her front yard and ran down the street through the woods on the other side of the neighborhood. And you don't expect that somebody is going to be excited about something? I mean, this is the most laid-back law enforcement I've ever seen in my life. What do they expect you to be if you're not excited? If you're not
right,
aggressive?
what am I supposed to be calm? Am I supposed to be like, oh yeah, it's okay that you just walked off with her from my yard? No, bitch, I should beat your ass and ask questions later. But because I'm on felony probation, I'm not gonna do that. And yes, I will make my PO well aware of this situation so that she understands how I feel about it. Because I'm very passionate about this. It could have been anybody's child. It could have been my child, my daughter, my son, my other daughter. Like, it could have been my neighbor's child. It could have been anybody's child. It's not even just about this female alone. It could have been anybody's child. And you're saying that it's okay because basically it's two females and they have the same last name.
I'm glad we share the same belief in that. I don't know how much more we all believe in, the three of us on this, but I truly believe in everybody has the ability to take an ass whooping if they want to put their hands on somebody else's kids and try to get out the paint. If you taking somebody's baby and that baby ain't been given to you and you don't have no business with that baby and you try to leave the neighborhood, you ain't above an ass whooping. You ain't, and that's just what I believe. If everybody knows that you are taking that baby unlawfully and you are taking that baby without the parents' permission at all, you're not above an ass whooping. You deserve an ass whooping. I'm glad you didn't do it because you got extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and I made it very well aware that I was on felony probation to everybody.
Sure.
To let them know where I'm coming from and that I'm extremely passionate about this. Because, like, at the end of the day, I'm still a mother. But also, at the end of the day, this is still, she may not be out of my coochie, but she's my child.
I got you. Look, here's the thing. Because in the depths of it all, if y'all had a situation to where Deja had been in Dakota's life all this time, even, let's just say she's been there all this time and y'all done did trips and birthday parties and all kinds of stuff together. But then the relationship stopped. And then one day it got to the point where you said, you know what, this isn't healthy for Dakota. So we need to sever ties and I no longer want to co-parent with you. Now, if you feel that you have justification to do so, you go on down to the court and you fight for some parenting time. She would be able to show a length. She would be able to show a length of however long she was in Dakota's life and that she deserved parenting time. And Dakota not only was in her life, but Dakota had her last name. She don't have none of that shit.
She has a record of toxicity.
Exactly.
And that ain't a good record. That ain't a good record by any stretch of the imagination, whether it be a police record or whether it be a record, you know, that you play.
It's on paper, police record. It's a record of toxicity.
Yeah, it's on paper. So it's like, y'all already know this is going on, yet you guys continue to not do anything about it.
And you keep the hollering PPO.
And now it's like, at this point, not only is my niece in danger, she comes over to my house, but as me just being an offset, my children and myself are in danger with even going home. Granted, you know, I don't go home anyways, but...
So tell me this.
It's still my home. Like, my brother still watches my kids when I'm working, or Alan's working if neither one of us are home with the kids. Like, at the end of the day, we still have to, that's still where we take the kids when we need somebody to watch them.
And you know what? And you ain't even got to discuss all that because none of that is in question right here. What we're dealing with is a crazy bitch who tried to take your child.
Yeah, but it's like, at the end of the day, I should be able to take my kids home and it be safe for them, and it's not safe for them to be at home.
So what I'm going to ask you to do, because I definitely got to do some more digging into this situation, why you have been basically ignored.
Yes.
Was there any type of follow-up with from WCSO? Today's the 24th. Was there any type of follow-up?
They have not contacted us about nothing. It was too late to get up to the courthouse today for the PPO, but we're going up there as soon as she gets off work tomorrow.
Okay.
By the time she got off, it was already too late.
Okay.
Like I said, we will be up there first thing tomorrow.
Okay.
To get the PPO, and I'm going to be trying to file for a PPO as well, although I may not be able to get one, but technically I'm directly in the situation. And it's mainly for the fact of if Dakota does come to my house, she needs to be safe.
Absolutely. And
so therefore, I feel like the PPO is necessary because then that gives me rights to have my niece within my home and not have to worry about anything.
And the main thing is you got to have that perimeter, even though I'm going to say execute the PPO if at all cost if you can, because she's right across the street from your house. And you now know this, that she sets up shop and makes sure that everybody's gone before she makes her plays. She never does anything when Cammy's around. She always waits till she's out of the paint. So what you got to do is you got to protect yourself. Now, what you can do, and this is just me to you. I ain't been in nobody's police academy and I ain't been in nobody's law school. But Dakota is the subject.
Correct.
If you're getting the PPO, Cammy, you need to be getting that to protect. You need to be getting that to protect you wherever Dakota goes to. And,
Absolutely.
And in filing for it, Nikki, because you take care of Dakota a lot, dealing with your family dynamic, and you and Alan and Jerry, y'all need to be protected within that PPO. If they don't give it to you by yourself, Cammy, and then give Nikki her own separate one, she needs to be included in your PPO because she cares for Dakota. Anything attached to you, Nick or Cammy, is attached to Dakota, needs to be protected at this point. And it's not that they're scared of her coming to their house if Dakota's not there, but you need to be protected when Dakota is there and they have basically parenting rights. They have like temporary custodial rights. She has no rights to Dakota. Therefore, anytime she takes Dakota, it is wrong. It is unlawful. And that's what really needs to be dug into. Why wasn't this woman arrested on abduction charges, on attempted kidnapping charges, on something where she took this baby out of her yard unlawfully? Uh-oh, I lost them. Maybe they'll come back. Hopefully they come back. Make sure they come back to the stream, y'all. Here, hold on a second. Hopefully they hit that. I know if they were moving, they were probably losing their signal. Hopefully they come back. But I got the soapbox in a little bit there. There needs to be full protection for them. There needs to be full protection for them. You say get a Ring camera, something to capture her in case she does attempt this again. Absolutely. Please don't waste your money on a PPO. Use that money to get an attorney. I don't think the PPO actually costs money. If they go in and they do an ex parte, I don't believe it actually costs money. I mean, it may cost some type of filing fee, but it'll be much less than getting an attorney. But they definitely need an attorney. She needs a civil rights attorney. Civil rights attorneys are at an all-time high, needed right now in this county. And wow, it's all depending on WCSO. WCSO has a lot of people who need attorneys who are going to be filing lawsuits, I would think, probably within the next year or so. It's going to get greasy around here because we only talked about that situation there. But we've got other situations happening in the county where families have been slighted and given, undeserved treatment. They indeed need an attorney. Absolutely, they indeed need an attorney, and hopefully they follow suit with that. Let me see if they're going to be able to come back to the stream. Uh-oh. Her device not connected. Let's see if she can get in there. She's trying to get in there. $200 filing fee for a PPO? Damn. You can go find you some heat for less than 200. I'm not condoning that, but I get it. We're trying to get them back into the stream. They buffering. I'm gonna put him up. Might as well get a CPL. That's what I'm saying, man. You might as well get some iron. If the PPO costs money, they can contact Safe House and it can get done for free. And Cammy has a relationship with Safe House, so I think they need to be going through there and having Safe House advocate for them anyway. They need to be going through Safe House and having them advocate for them so that fee can get waived. So somebody from Safe House needs to catch this stream. Maybe I'll tag Safe House's page on this and tell them to catch this, so they can understand and get on that. But that's what they need. $200, that's a little bit to undertake, when you protecting your babies on your own, and you ain't getting no child support from the uncle or the auntie or the parent that's not really a parent. And, just from namesake, she want to talk about because she got her name. They ain't made it back, y'all. When they come back, I'll put them back. I didn't drop them. They dropping themselves. Just so y'all know. She want to be all them things. She want to be the auntie. She want to be the uncle. She want to be the shunkle. She want to be the co-parent. But she don't want to put no money in it. Now we got to go get PPOs and stuff. Nah, we don't do that. We might as well just go ahead and do something that's more fruitful. Go on and go through CPL classes and get you some iron. Get you a Ring camera and some iron. Okay? You got to do what you got to do to protect yourself. You got to do what you got to do to protect your family. They fucking with me tonight, Kimmy. I know they didn't know me before this cast, but they know me now. They trying to come back in. Let's see if I can get them in. Y'all back? Y'all in there? Can you hear me? You're muted. Unmute yourself. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
So the thing is, hold on one second. Oh boy. Somebody's putting up promises on the site. The views of the Villager on Deck are not necessarily the views of anybody I promote, support, or in cahoots with, but I support this comment. Brandy Malone, I'm cold as God mama. Best believe
that's my sister.
Oh, okay. So she letting everybody know Deja's still gonna probably catch the mitts. So it's about to get cold outside because she's gonna get her some mittens. What I need people to understand is you don't mess with nobody's kids. Leave people's kids alone. Leave people's kids alone. If you're not in a kid's life, stop fucking with these kids, putting these kids in imminent danger. Leave folks' kids alone. I'm doing this thing I'm trying to get really correct with this shit. I've been doing this streaming thing for a little bit, and I always try to stay on the right side of history. Okay? The right side of history is that the abduction colors, the kidnapping colors are green. So I did this whole somebody snatching up a baby. I did it all in green. And that literally needs to be your code words. Y'all need to be building y'all code words around. If she sees her, she needs to be hollering out green, green, green. Not for Danbury green. I'm being abducted. I'm being taken away from my house by my.
That'll start being her code word too.
It's gotta be green, green, green. And I don't know how many people even know that, but I went into it looking for some information about abductions. And that, for me, any kid that can be put in imminent danger, they need to be yelling out that word. And people need to understand the word green means a child is being abducted. A child is being taken against their will. And if we hear that, we need to be prepared to turn around and either give an ass whooping or take an ass whooping for that child.
Correct.
So what I've seen so far is two families that have come together for this girl. And I'm not sure exactly what WCSO really has on their mind these days, because they doing a different type of law enforcement over there at Hogback and Washington. So I'm not sure exactly what they got on their mind. But when you send out deputies, when you dispatch deputies out, so there was a minimum of 2 cars there, because you said the one officer came and then the other officer came. Were they singled up, or was there multiple officers? Was there more than 2?
They all came in separate cars. All 3 of them showed up in separate cars.
3 officers, 3 cars. So there was 3 officers on the scene. Shane Bynum ends up taking over. He ends up taking over the investigation, and that's basically when all the belittling and everything started. And who dealt with Deja? Did Shane Bynum deal with Deja, or did the smug hat deal with Deja?
Officer Woolham only talked to her mostly. Shane Bynum, I don't even remember seeing him walking over there hardly. He walked over there for like 2-3 seconds maybe, and then the rest of it went right back to Tammy. We weren't doing our part.
You kind of breaking up. You're a little garbled. Y'all got a signal twitch.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfect now.
Okay.
And we're gonna get out of here because I know we almost 2 hours in. I really didn't expect to keep y'all on here, but this is something that truthfully is unsettling to people. When people hear that this literally happened right in our own area, because I'm trying to tell people the stuff that happened to Winter Smith, that happens all over the country. We just don't hear every news story. And I'm not trying to scare nobody, not trying to freak nobody out, but damn it, we could have been dealing with another situation like that. We don't know what's in that female's mind. We do know she is a female, so I'm gonna call her a female. I'm not gonna call her a lady. I'm not gonna call her a woman. I'm definitely not gonna call her a man or uncle. No more, until I'm being petty.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, she is a female.
She's a female. I'm gonna give her that. So as a female, I don't know what's going through her mind to think that what she did was a good thing, luring a child away from the child's home, snatching her up, having somebody set up camp through the neighborhood so she can vamp out. And like I said, it would have been crazy that if Alan doesn't pull up, if you don't get there. And obviously the cops weren't there. They weren't in position to stop her. This could have easily been a situation where this stream doesn't happen tonight because we out looking for Dakota.
Exactly. It could have easily been anything else. And the point is that they absolutely did nothing about it. And that's my biggest thing.
They spend most of their time talking
like
to her,
Alan just said, they spent most of their time talking to Cammie and the suspect. They didn't want to hear nothing about what we had to say. And the fact that they kept telling me to shut up is an issue for me. I'm not going to quiet myself because you don't want to hear me. And you cannot make me be quiet because at the end of the day, I have a freedom of speech. I'm not being ignorant. I'm not saying, here, Mr. Oink Oink. I'm not doing none of that because at this point in time, the way I look at you is a pig. You are not a person. You are not a police officer. You're not a peace officer. You're a pig of a person to sit up and let somebody walk away with somebody's child and think that that's acceptable in any way, shape, or form.
Look, y'all need to get the PPO taken care of and get it as broad as you can. If you're not able to get one, Nikki, because there's been a violation of your premises, you should be able to get one too. And I know that it could be
I'm definitely going to attempt to.
But you should be, because Dakota was actually taken from your house. So you should be able to be protected and having your edifice and your family be protected, as well as Cammie being protected, because anywhere Dakota travels, if it's amongst y'all need to have that covering.
When it comes to my life and my children's life, and it comes to hers, and this would be for any type of life situation, but when it comes to my life and somebody else's, I'm always going to choose mine and my children, especially my children.
Word up. I wouldn't expect any less.
So
I would think less of you if you thought another way.
I feel like they're waiting for us to kill each other off at this rate.
Oh, these are scenarios that I talk about within the Black community, and I've talked about it with people that are not Black. And the fact that I know that you don't identify as Black, you do identify with Black people because you've grown up. And there's people that grow up around Black people, then there's people that grow up in Brightmoor. Let me be honest. I lived in Redford for 10 years, so I know exactly where Brightmoor is, been through it, did a lot of business in there. I get it. So you get this situation.
I went to Redford High School. I was one of 3 white people in Redford High School.
I get it.
And the other 2 were weird.
So
he's laughing at me. And the other 2 white people were weird. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, they
So
they probably didn't want to be there. Their families probably got jobs in the area and they needed to go to Redford High and get through there. You know, they weren't really indoctrinated into the community the proper way. So yeah, I get it. What do you want?
So yeah, and like you said, I grew up in this community. So to me, this hits me hard.
Do you have
this really bothers me? It hits me real hard because of this whole situation. Not only did you take this baby from my home, but like, this is my community. My kids and my nieces and everybody has always been over to play at my house. Everybody in the neighborhood comes to my house. If they're hungry, I feed them. If they're thirsty, I give them drinks. If they're hot, I pour water on them. Whatever the case may be, all the children in the neighborhood come to my house.
I get it. I mean, every neighborhood needs that. And it's unfortunate that right now you're being actually looked at more as the predator than, you know, Uncle Deja. So my thing is this. After you get these PPOs taken care of, and I'm putting that into the air that we we back by ourselves again. Maybe she got out of the car, she lost her signal. We'll get it back. We'll get her back in here. I want to ask them one last question so we can close out. Because I want to know, after the PPO is set in place, then what is their next step? This has to be looked at as a huge oversight with the WCSO, but I don't know if they will come back retroactively and put abduction or kidnapping charges on Deja. I mean, I don't know if they can do that, or would maybe if they look at everything. Hopefully the body cams were on. Maybe if the body cams are on and somebody else looks at this at some point, you know, we're going to be in a situation that if the body cam,
I don't know why it keeps kicking me out.
Don't worry about it. That's God. That's God telling us to get off. That's whatever. So here's the thing. What do you want to happen next after the PPO? Because I have some suggestions, but I want to have you tell anybody that's listening, what do you want to happen after the PPO? What are your next steps? You and Cammie, you know, as a collective.
I honestly want to see something happen to this young lady, because why should it take for a PPO to happen for you guys to actually do your job? We are not safe. And if this has been going on for 6-7 years and it's telling you that we're not safe because this young lady keeps doing it, and for you guys to allow this woman to walk off with this little girl from my house,
right? What
makes me think a PPO is going to protect me if you guys can't protect us?
It's not. The PPO is going to be put in place just for, you know, protocol's sake. What's going to happen is, if she's as unhinged as I think she is, she's going to violate the PPO. That's going to instigate something, but we should be 2-3 situations in. The fact that they haven't taken this serious enough up to this point, it's going to almost be like you're starting right at the beginning when she does violate the PPO, because she's not going away. She's unhinged. She's gonna come back around. You get the PPO, she's gonna violate the PPO. That's when they're gonna do something. But she's already made the play. So now what you got to be ready for, she attempted to kidnap Dakota. She abducted her from the house, but she attempted to kidnap her and get out of the paint. Now you've got to take measures to protect that from at least happening again, because she's going to revamp her plan now. She ain't going to use the same plan now. She's going to
keep trying. At this point, because I am no longer allowed to carry my CPO because of this case. I had a CPO and I had a gun for this reason, because there's been plenty of times where I threw my daughter in the house because they were shooting outside.
Right.
Now the only thing that I can honestly do is keep stuff like a baseball bat or a cast iron skillet, something that's legal for me to have in my own home, that you guys can't say, oh, you can't tell me I can't have a kitchen knife. Oh, you can't tell me I'm not allowed to own a baseball bat, because if it comes down to her life or mine, I'm always going to choose mine and my children.
You get 3 strikes. Swing away.
She's past 3 strikes.
Well, you know what? Hey, it's somebody else's time to bat. Go ahead and keep swinging. You get 9 batters on a lineup. Don't stop until you got that baby back in your arms, because she's not going to stop. She just showed y'all.
Basically what happened with this situation. I did not stop until I had that baby back in my arms. I had her back before her mother even made it to the scene.
So I guess my thing is this. What if she came back last night? We already know she heated up. What if she comes back?
She was already sitting outside my house antagonizing me. Yesterday. This is when I called the police and they released her again.
So what if she decides to put a gun in somebody's face and says, go get Dakota?
That's my point. So you're going to have to shoot me, because I'm not getting her.
So
you're going to have to kill me.
They're putting y'all in a position now to where she's possibly or probably carrying a firearm because she's known to. So if she has a firearm next time, she might not be so nice. She might not offer up no candy. She might offer up a little lead.
Why leave us in that position?
And they're not even trying to get us out of this predicament. And that's our biggest thing right now is, okay, so yeah, now we're in a gray area. But no, like, where's our protection? There's no gray, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She took a child without permission. You guys are telling us that it's okay, but now you're putting us at risk. And we've been saying this whole time, we are let down by this community as far as the police. Because what are you guys? Are you guys supposed to be police officers, peace officers? Are you guys just piggies with a uniform? You guys just here for a check at this point?
WCSO has done an underwhelming job on a lot of levels. And you're encountering this individual here. You know, I sometimes apologize for mankind for just the insensitivity of the male gender, but I can't apologize to somebody like this because see, I'm too much on that parental side. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and I know how I would react and respond, but not really. But
he didn't want to hear that. He didn't want to hear that when we said, what if it was your child? He wanted to tell us to shut up when it came to his kid. Wow. We got to be quiet when we say, is it your kid? No, we're not going to go there. Yeah, we're going to go there. And we're going there.
We have the sheriff who has children of his own, who has a wife of his own, you know, and he should understand situations like this. I mean, the kidnapping of a child shakes this community. You know, the abduction of a child. I'm still not right with it. The fact that this happened and you've had ongoing circumstances that never have been dealt with. So I place blame there directly with the sheriff. Then you have a situation, the person that actually is trying to be the next sheriff, he's just as incompetent, because if you haven't met this individual who is on the board for Washtenaw County Community Mental Health, then I'm not sure exactly what families he's working with. Now, Cammy, haven't you dealt with?
Dogs are tough.
You're Hi, fine. Puppy. You're fine. Cammy, is Cammy still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, she's right here.
Haven't you said you dealt with Safe House? You dealt with Safe House? Uh-oh, they went away again. What's good with your black seed? All the officer can say is how much good Bynum does for the community. How much good does he do? He did good by not arresting a kidnapped suspect.
We lost you for a minute. Can you repeat that?
No, don't worry about it. I stopped. When I saw y'all drop, I stopped. I wasn't going to keep going. Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah, that was one thing they kept trying to say is that he did something good for the community, but he did absolutely nothing for the community at all. I've never seen none of them.
Not when it mattered for me, at least.
He didn't arrest Deja, so how good is he? I mean, she abducted a child. She took a child a good quarter of a mile away from the house with the intent to put her in a car and take her to any location that she desired, but it would have been an unknown location to y'all. How good of an officer is he? She was carrying around a duffel bag that they never checked to inspect for weapons or contraband or anything.
Nothing.
How good of an officer is he? They did not put her in a position where not only to detain her and put an arrest on her and say, don't go back there or we'll be back and you'll sit. They just exited her outside of the complex only to have her come back in 5 minutes later. How good of an officer is he? When they say people do good things for the community, they've been saying that this individual's face that's on my screen has been doing good for the community. But I want to know how good is he if y'all don't know who he is.
I've never even heard of him. I've never even seen his face on a bus. That's how irrelevant he is to me because I don't know of him. I've never even heard of him trying to be a community engagement person. Well, where are you at? Where are you engaging with this community? Because where was you during that whole little thing where they did the memorial for them boys, Dallas and Tyree?
Well, he claimed that he changed one of the kids' diapers when he was young and he used to hang out with him. Oh, so you
claim that, but where was your face when they was doing this memorial?
Well, I tell you what, here's the thing.
I gave that boy Tyrese CPR until the ambulance came. So where was you at, sir? I was there. I seen the car crash. I watched them take them kids from out the Jeep and into the red car. So where was you at, sir? I seen that. I watched this boy go from breathing to stop breathing to me punching him in his chest to him breathing again. I was there for that. I still smell the blood.
That's your sister.
Mm-hmm. That's my sister. But like, I was there for that. I didn't see him at that thing. I didn't see none of them officers stop to try and pay respect to them kids. I didn't see not one community engagement person showing up for the community. Where were they? 1 second, I gotta run to my car for the battery.
You're good.
But it's like, where was you guys? This is what you guys are supposed to be doing, correct? So where are you?
And that's been my question. They've been absent and they've been lethargic on so many other things. And when we're talking about kids being kidnapped and kids being murdered and kids being assaulted and attacked and accosted in the community, and now we've got people. We've literally got people. He's on steroids. He's mad at PP.
Brandy going ham.
Yeah, she was there. She was on the phone too.
This is my sister, so I mean, like, she's telling you exactly.
I'm supposed to be the pettiest person on the stream. Y'all ain't supposed to be pettier than I am. Y'all.
I mean, it's the truth though. How is he shaped like a Ninja Turtle, but you're not doing anything? You're literally built like you can't wipe your own ass when you take a shit, but you're not doing anything about this woman who just tried to abduct a child.
I think we're talking about this individual.
Yes, this individual right here. You're so cocky, but you can't wipe your own ass. You can't even reach your ass cheeks, buddy. But you're not doing nothing for the children or nothing for this engagement, nothing for the community. But you're just such a great sergeant. You're a sergeant, right? But this is a gray area for you. This is not a gray area. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Shane Bynum has stripes. He got sergeant bars.
He's a sergeant. He is a sergeant now. You're the sergeant that took over this case. Miss Frida, I would gladly do this for anybody's child. Anybody that I would have seen into that situation. If it would have been your son or anybody else's son, I would have done the same thing. I am a mother and I am a human. I've also had safety classes. So it's like I knew how to do CPR. When his heart stopped and he stopped breathing, yes, I knew how to start it back up. No, I am not a doctor. No, I cannot save nobody. But I would do it for anybody in the community. I would pick up a 5-year-old and take them to a parent if I needed to. If it was that serious. I am the person that will drive a child to the hospital and try to contact a parent like your child was hurt. I'm rushing them to the hospital. Can you meet me there? I am that mother. I am the mother that will make your kid a meal if they're hungry. I am the mother that if you don't have diapers, I'll give up some of mine even if I don't have them. Because I am a parent and I am a human being. I have been broke. I have been homeless. I have literally slept outside at the age of 13, 14 years old as a child.
Let me ask you this, because I think we need to go a step further. I thought I'm still live. I'm still live, man. Am I on?
Yeah.
I'm still live, man. Yeah, I'm still live. So if we're in a situation where you are right now, how many kids would you say are around Dakota's age, give or take a year or two under, give or take a year above?
Along my strip alone, there is over 25 kids that are younger than the age of 10. No, ma'am, I didn't save the young man. I did not save the young man. I just gave him time to say goodbye to his family. I did not save him.
So, Frida, let me bring you up on what she's talking about, because we're talking about the 4 boys, correct?
Yes.
So, Frida, she's talking about the 4 boys who were shot, 2 were murdered, 2 survived. That same situation that we just had the event for last week with the families, and also Jermaine McClendon. I mean, it was really open to all families who have been directly affected.
I knew Jermaine as well.
Oh, wow.
I know these are all people that I have met or I have known. I've seen this young man in the community before this situation. As far as him even being shot, like I seen him in the community. I would do it for anybody.
Okay. So what we're in a situation with dealing with here is I need y'all to focus on a day like an afternoon, later in the afternoon, you know, when people have gotten home from work and kind of settling in.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to bring some individuals out to talk to kids about talking to strangers, about talking to people that they even know.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, I'm not expecting much from Washtenaw County. And I don't believe in sitting on my ass and waiting for the county to come out with the resources and to provide us with what they want to throw at us. We need to do this ourselves. What they say, we need to get it out the mud. We're going to get it out the mud ourselves. And I have people that at my disposal that are qualified to be able to talk about safety, to be able to talk about what happens if somebody walks up to you, whether you be in the house, you in school, you in the store with your mom, the dad, whoever, and they take a vested interest in this community. But the biggest problem that you're dealing with here is let's get the steps done with the PPO. Let's do everything that they're saying do, because all of this is going to come to a head. And you're going to have to get a lawyer. And when you go into the lawyer, you're going to have your PPOs. You're going to have your history of toxicity, right, Cammie? You're going to have all of that at your disposal. And you're going to get somebody to sit down with you and say, okay, I'm yours. I'm your attorney. But in the meantime, we've got to first and foremost protect these babies, because there's another child that could easily go through what Dakota just went through.
Mm-hmm.
And we might not be talking about this in a way, not that there's any real positive thing other than the fact that we still got Dakota in our midst, but we might not be talking about it the same way. So we need to get these families together, because I'm about bringing these communities back together. See, a lot of people want to talk about some other stuff. I want to talk about building stronger families, building stronger communities. That's what we once had.
When I was growing up, we ran feral. I'm older than Google. I drank out the water hose. I played in the mud. Like, we ran outside until the lights came on where we could hear our mama say, get your ass in the house. We should be able to live like that again and not have to worry about a pedophile or a weirdo or somebody just that's completely, utterly narcissistic and obsessive and all of that with you, trying to hurt you or your children.
So let's figure out a day, and I want it to be convenient for both of you, and because we want to come out and we want to talk to the kids, but we want to talk to the parents and make sure that everybody needs to understand law enforcement is not going to always be there to protect us. Not even sometime. Not even half the time, not even a quarter of a time, but the community can always be there to protect itself.
And this is one thing that I tell my oldest daughter and my kids all the time. If you guys ever feel like you're not safe and you don't see me, you run to the biggest, scariest person you find and you tell them that you need help.
Absolutely.
Whether it be a biker or the biggest, scariest black dude you find, those are the two people that I point out to my kids the most.
What you saying, black? Because we aggressive? What you saying? We agree to aggressive?
No. The reason I say a big black man is because in my experience, everything that I've been protected from has been from a black man protecting me. My foster brother was the first.
Brothers.
Yes, like that's family. So it's like, I'm not saying it in a way to like, oh yeah, just go look for the biggest black man. No, I'm telling them because like, this is where we're safe at. This is where I know that my kids are going to be safe, because I know that most of these men out here, especially African-American fathers, are not playing about their kids.
No.
Or any child in general.
No.
And that goes to the same for bikers. One thing I know for sure about bikers is that they don't play about kids, women and children. When I grew up, women and children were off limits, no matter what situation, whether it was gangbangers, robbers, any of that. Women and children were not allowed to be touched. That's how I was raised.
And truthfully, that's where I was. I mean, Neighborhood Watch became an organization after I knew what Neighborhood Watch was. I really knew what Neighborhood Watch was when I had people on both sides of me. I lived a second to the in-house from the end of the court, But everybody in that court knew my name. Everybody in that court knew my mother's name. They knew my siblings' name. And they had the right to check me or my siblings at any given point, because that's what families do. And if something's going wrong around you and your existence, that's when the neighborhood's got to kick in, because mom ain't gonna always be there. You good?
1 second, my phone died.
Okay, we here.
Okay.
So we're in a situation. We're in a situation where we have to make sure that we're advocating for ourselves out here. When we're not advocating for ourselves, that's a problem. If we're going to wait for law enforcement to be our defense mechanism, that's just wrong. We've got to be smarter, and we have to be smarter with numbers. I know they dropped, so I'm just going to kind of ramble on until she kicks back in. Hold on 1 second. Trust me, if they have a safe house history, documented call logs from the county, all communications with the PERP documentation, showing all communications with the sheriff's, the sheriff's department, and YPD. She said she's got a relationship with Safe House, and if she got a relationship with Safe House, that means that, yeah, we probably gonna have to be in a good situation to be able to get some previous documentation so they can start putting this paper trail everywhere. You know, they need to put this paper trail everywhere, because, you know, she might get brazen enough to be able to follow them to a store or something, and let them get into the store and try to grab the baby and run out the store with the baby. And then how hard is that for them to get her? Because now they got to run out the store and get into the car and all that kind of stuff. So they can walk into an attorney's office now. I would think so, Free. I think that's really what the next move needs to be. Take care of these PPOs and get that stuff done. But they need to be checking in. You know, if the PPO's got I think what somebody said, a $2 tag on it, we don't need to be paying $200 for no PPOs. If you got Safe House history, let Safe House take care of that. They work that out with the county, because that's just all miscellaneous fees. And if you are subsidized, you should definitely be able to get that taken care of through Safe House in the county. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm hoping that they actually make it back on. And if they don't, I get it. I totally get it, because we weren't going to stay in here too much longer. So maybe her phone was going to die. And I know they got to deal with the kids. They got some little ones they got to deal with. But that's what this was about. This was about somebody who tried to abduct a child that was not lawfully theirs, that was not righteously theirs. They had no business being in that yard, luring that child with candy and ramen noodles. That's the strangest ask. I've never seen someone try to lure a child with ramen noodles. I just didn't think that was a thing. You know, I mean, a candy bar, some bubble gum, you know, I mean, but ramen noodles, who does that shit? So there's something twisted about that, unless she knows that Dakota likes ramen noodles, and, you know, I mean, but I don't get it. But thankfully, the young baby that she was with ran inside and got the brother and alerted everybody, and everybody was on point to make sure that they were able to secure Dakota before she got out the paint. With that creep, with that miscreant. She is a miscreant. She abducted a child, took a child out of her yard, lured her with candy and ramen noodles, and tried to escape through the other parts of the neighborhood, which that meant she knew she was trying to be deceptive. She was trying to get away. She was trying to be elusive. That's another reason, that's another red flag that the police should have been like, well, why'd you, bring her way down here? Whose house did you come from? And when she couldn't identify that she came from anybody's houses right there, and had to say, well, I took her to the trail and, over the hills and through the woods, you wasn't going to grandma's house. Where was you going? Where was you going? So I ain't got no more on this, and don't think she did anything wrong. Yeah. There's a problem there. There's a sickness there. She needs an evaluation, and she needs for that to happen inside of the Washtenaw County Jail. They've got people in there that can evaluate her. She needs to have a full eval inside of the Washtenaw County Jail. She just literally, She just made a jump from one part of the neighborhood to the other part of the neighborhood by going through a trail. She was trying to get away with a waiting car on the other side of the woods. But they said nothing. Nah. What you know about street codes? You're too young to know about street codes. But nah, the codes were you didn't mess with women and children. You didn't mess with women and children. And now women and children is all that's getting messed with. Well, these thug life motherfuckers, they don't mess with each other anymore. They mess with women and children. Women and children are the prey. They have always been the prey, but they used to have codes back in the day. You stayed away from that. I'm gonna let them come back up. We're gonna get on up out of here because we're approaching 2 hours and 30 minutes. But I definitely want to make sure that they know they have the support of the Villager on Deck. They got the support of the Villager on Deck, most definitely. Y'all back rolling again?
Yeah, we're back rolling. My phone's a little special when it comes to battery percentage.
Don't worry about it. So here's the thing. You use a lot more when you're streaming, so it's going to zap it again. But what I just want to let y'all know is I'm going to continue to share this stream. I'm going to cut up some pieces of it to make sure that we get some of the spaces that where y'all were really cooking about this incident and what we did, because it's not so much just about people seeing the whole thing. They really need to see where there was a direct violation and the lack of activity on WCSO's part. But y'all make sure y'all attack that PPO situation, but contact Safe House first. If you've got a history with Safe House.
You know what, that's actually the best idea I didn't think about that. I'm glad you said that, but that's exactly what we'll do. I will call Safe House tomorrow on mine and her behalf and see if we can get a representative from there to help us. Because
them putting you through the system will help expedite things. And I didn't bring that up myself. Well, my chat room is way smarter than I am. That was actually brought in by one of the people in the chat who knows about these things and understands what we're dealing with.
Agreed. You can move. They're not the same anymore.
Yeah, I mean the street codes, they're just not. And where I need you to be affecting your situation the best is to make sure that y'all stay together, but y'all get some representation out here. Get Safe House working for you. And then, civil rights attorneys are not really difficult to find. It's just, you've got to be able to play out all the stuff. And right now you've got your civil rights are being violated. Your child was just taken out of your yard. That's crazy. Yeah. And they didn't do a thing about it. So we have a situation where we've got to attack this the right way. They told you to go get the PPO, go get the PPO. You need an attorney.
They definitely told us to go get a PPO.
Yeah. You seek out the attorney, get the PPO, seek out the attorney, and then make sure you lay all this stuff out. Because if you don't do that now, the first thing they're going to come back and say is, did you get the PPO? Did you get the PPO? Mm-hmm.
Because why didn't you get the PPO? You must not be in danger if you didn't get the PPO.
Exactly.
That's their favorite line.
Exactly. So do everything that they know. Do everything that they know that they've said that they've done. Start requesting the 911 call. Start requesting body cam footage. Start requesting everything that you have dealing with this situation. Maybe you don't have anything leading up to the abduction day, but get it all for the abduction day. Because those body cams should have been active. We can go to
the clerk's office, the county records or whatever, and get all of that.
Yeah, the body cams had to be on. If they're responding to an alleged abduction or potential kidnapping, those body cams. According to Woolham's,
their body cams was on.
You do know that they were on?
According to Woolham's body cam was on. I know for a fact because when I told him that we was recording, he said that's okay. I'm recording too.
Okay,
and like I told him, I said I'm not recording you, but I'm specifically recording your little retarded sergeant. And those were my words.
You need all that. You need all that because that's going to be very important to your attorney, when they look over that footage. So make sure you get all that. Start requesting that stuff now. If they give you a hard time, kick back at me. I know places that can help you get that stuff, a lot more efficiently. So just make sure that y'all staying up on it. And everybody's got my number now. And y'all see me here. This is what I do. I don't come up as much as I did, but this was important. This is why I felt like we needed to, because right now she's sitting somewhere, and if she didn't watch
drinking across the street from my house with one of them people trying to antagonize me again, probably, but I'm not there to antagonize.
I get it.
That's what she was. She was sitting in a crowd.
Why didn't they question? I'm listening. No, I'm sorry. I was reading Brandy's question.
I don't care if you got a crowd, win, big, small, none of that. Win, lose, or draw, I'll fight them all.
I get it. And this last question, this is crazy. WCSO might want to think about this when they are going through this situation with y'all. Why didn't they question why she told Coda she was her uncle, which Coda repeated to the cop?
Question. We asked them that.
Y'all ain't supposed to be asking shit. Y'all the victims. The cops
we asked the officers that question. Why aren't you guys taking in the fact that she lied to a little girl and said you're her uncle? You guys are just completely dismissing this. We asked these questions.
What they say?
To the officers. All the questions they're asking, we asked them.
What they say?
And this is how they play it.
Ask them.
They basically told us like, oh well, it's hearsay.
Okay.
What the fuck is hearsay? You got 5, 6 people telling you this woman's not supposed to be with her, and you're telling us it's hearsay.
That's not hearsay. Did she have any allies? She didn't have no. Her allies left tire marks. Her ally is gone. She had a car waiting for her.
And the one uncle that did pull up for her didn't even talk to an officer. He said 3 words to her and walked away. But then had the nerve to give my brother the middle finger yesterday when I called the police again. Because she was back in the green.
So the uncle walked up and said 3 words. So what did he say? You hear what he said?
I don't even know what he said because they wouldn't let me pass the tree.
So let me ask you this.
They kept telling me to shut up.
She didn't have any allies there, and y'all had a bunch of people on y'all side.
Yes.
That's suspect right there. Because it wasn't like she had a group of people, and y'all had a group of people, and that's hearsay. No, it was
just her. Just her. By herself.
One person holding a baby with
one
nobody.
One person holding a baby, but we're the ones in the wrong.
WCSO, I don't even know how they're going to dig themselves out of this, but I tell you what, y'all do what y'all need to do tomorrow. Take care of that. Don't think about this dude. We know who he is. Don't think about that dude. Since y'all don't know this dude, y'all don't have to worry about that dude. I guarantee you soon enough, you're going to see this dude because he's going to have to pop out because he's going to have to defend his community that he says he takes so much care. Wait a minute. Do y'all know this lady? Do y'all know her?
Who? No.
You don't know Kathy Wyatt?
No. Never heard of her either.
She's the sheriff's assistant. Like she comes out to a lot of the neighborhood community meetings. So
what is she assisting?
Well,
what is she assisting? Them to not do a job or for them to go pick up another donut? Do they want me to drop them off a case of coffee too?
Never seen her. Alan said he never seen her either.
Do I need to feed them a case of coffee and a donut? Because I don't know none of them. Is that what I need to do? Do I need to call them with a case of donuts? Hey, officer, I got some donuts for you. I need some help.
Give me enough time. And Medea said, won't that? So, yeah, she's the assistant to the sheriff, and she works, politically with them. There's a lot of things that I would have expected this woman to do. I know she doesn't look black, but she's black. And she doesn't really advocate for black people the way you would expect a black woman to advocate. I mean, she can cosplay. She can be white one day. She can be black one day. She can kind of cosplay. So because of her light-skinnedness. But my situation is this. If you ain't seen none of them people, one day you might see this person right here.
I ain't seen none of them. Never even seen that person either.
This person right here is the person who cuts the checks for the county. So if you get a lawsuit against the county and you win, he's the one that's going to cut the check. So that's
you need to cut their check because they're not doing their job.
Oh, no, they getting a lot of checks. You better understand, Jerry Clayton's staff is one of the highest paid staffs of a county this size in the United States. He has
not even just that, but if this would have been in Ann Arbor, let me go back to this race thing. Let it have been in Ann Arbor, would there have been a white child or a black child and this black lady would have tried to walk off with her, or not even tried, she did, they would have taken her to jail in Ann Arbor, off top.
Oh, yeah.
Let it have been Ann Arbor. They done took her to jail off top. regardless of whether the little girl was black or white, because they don't play that shit.
See, that's where I guess we didn't even tackle really into the jurisdiction of this. There is absolutely no way. If you talk about snatching somebody's kid in the deuce, oh, your ass
wouldn't have played that.
You going to jail.
You might have got shot if you even made it, if you even was lucky. Messing with Ann Arbor.
Don't take nobody's kid, don't take nobody's dog, and don't take nobody's flowers, the plants and shit.
Man, or don't forget the turtle. Don't forget the turtle missing from the library.
Yeah, the turtle, they done stole that turtle, and they got a search party out for that damn turtle.
And they willing to pay for that daggone stone turtle. So if y'all willing to pay for a fucking concrete turtle, why the fuck ain't they willing to take care of a child? A living human being.
Hey, all I'm saying, man, don't come to the deuce with that mess. Because if you steal anything, a kid, a car, whatever, I mean, you don't know what you might get.
And this is where I go into my music scenery, where it's like they tried to take this whole little Jason Aldean song and make it seem like it was racist. And in reality, and I'm going to say this again, if this was a small town, this wouldn't have happened because everybody would have been taking care of their own.
We've lost our small town fare because they've decided to try to make this a major metropolitan area. And I have nothing against other people being from other countries being here, but don't forget the people who have been here. And they've pushed a lot of people that have been here for years, hundreds of years aside, and they're making way for the new people, the new Americans. And the thing is, when you got a situation like a 7-year-old who basically took the bait. She took the bait, she took the candy and walked away with Deja. That's a person.
She didn't even walk away with Deja. She did not walk away with Deja. Deja picked her up and carried her off.
Oh,
she didn't even take the candy.
Immediately she picked her up?
She picked her up and carried her off. The candy was still sitting on the porch when I arrived. My daughter picked it up and threw it away.
I thought that's how she got close enough to walk away with her. So she picked her up.
She waited until my brother went in the house, walked over to my house, picked her up, and took off through the woods.
Y'all got Ring cameras?
Supposedly, I don't have a Ring camera, but supposedly the Green has cameras that work when they want them to. But let somebody get shot and they're not gonna work. Let a white person's house get robbed and they'll work though.
Yeah, I need to see if there was any Ring footage from anywhere in that corridor.
You know what? My neighbor has a Ring camera. I'll ask her.
See if she's got any Ring camera footage of her carrying Deja. Because if she's got that right there shows
that Deja carrying Dakota.
I'm sorry, of Deja carrying Dakota, excuse me. That lets me know that I need to be going. So if she's got, that will show that she immediately picked her up. Why? Because she needed to hurry up. She needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
Because if it was just a leisurely stroll.
She hurried up and got go.
Yeah.
But her reaction time wasn't fast enough for my 7-year-old and my brother. As soon as my 7-year-old seen her pick her up and try to take off through the woods, my baby went and got my brother. My brother immediately called me. When he got on the phone with me, I didn't hesitate to jump in my car and go straight over there.
Yeah, she picked her up. She picked her up because she needed to get out of the pain. She didn't pick her up because she felt like hugging her and loving her.
You been able to move half as fast as you did.
Right. Now we got it. All right, ladies, I will actually talk to you probably tomorrow. I want to dig into a couple of things and talk to you again about setting up a time to have us come out and really, and embrace the families. And love to meet Dakota and be able to talk to all the kids and all the parents in the community, that are willing to show that, hey, if they ain't got us, we got us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I mean, I think a weekend day would be best because a lot of parents do work during the week.
Ain't no thing. Let's do it. Let's do it on the weekend. Let's figure out whether it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. Let's figure out a window of time and we'll make the rest of it happen. How about that?
Okay, yes. And yes, Frida, she actually picked her up and made it over 100 yards with my niece. She made it from the back of Sycamore Meadows into whatever that Oak Place apartment complex is where the playground and all that stuff is in the back.
Yeah, she on some shit. But here's the thing. Since she's on some shit, we got to get on some shit. First thing y'all get on is them PPOs. Call Safe House first. Get the ball rolling. Make sure y'all protected in every situation around between your house, Cammie's house, and in between, and then an attorney. That needs to happen. And we'll talk more about these things. It says she made it to Glen Oaks. Hold on one second.
That's what it's called, Glen Oaks. Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
All the way to that park. That's quite a ways.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I said, had we have not reacted so quickly, just a few seconds later, she would have been gone.
She's gone.
With my niece.
She's gone.
God, sparingly. And I'm going to bring God into this, because if it was not for him, my niece would have been gone. He allowed us to make it to that point.
Most definitely. So, like I said, lock me in. We'll talk tomorrow.
Definitely. Just let me know what time so I can let her know.
Absolutely. So y'all get that paperwork and stuff done in the morning, and we'll chat in the afternoon.
Alrighty.
All right. Y'all be good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
This revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you know that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a bird, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand.